We just have to make it through the next few weeks. Today, in the United States of America, we crossed over 20,000 people dying from the coronavirus. We're in about week 4 of a national lockdown. Just about every major state in America requires that you wear a face mask or a covering using a scarf to cover your face when you're entering in a store, whether it's a grocery store or convenience store. And so society has definitely changed in the course of a few weeks. Most stores are locked down. Travel is restricted. 16 million people laid off. 25% of people are working from home that are still employed. What happens next? What's the future? Like I say, I think we're at a point where most of society, including me, are just trying to make it through the next few weeks to get to May 1st. As I make this now, it's April 11th, 2020. In about 3 weeks, when it hits May 1st, that's when the President of the United States will decide if we're going to reopen America or if we're going to continue to go into a national lockdown. The president said this is going to be the biggest decision of his life, the biggest decision of his presidency. Right now, statistically, America has more deaths than any other country, including China, where supposedly it started, including Italy, which had a major crisis, and Spain. Now, some of those numbers are skewed because China doesn't have a free press, so we don't know their exact numbers. Many other countries don't. We have a bigger population than Italy or Spain, so percentage-wise, you have to take everything in perspective. But it's starting to weigh on people's mind, the future not only with this virus, but the future of life, the future of for their children, for women who are pregnant. What's this going to look like? For people who just started a business, people want to know what's the future of society. And right now, the best answer is just try to get through the next few weeks to make it to May 1st. And, it's like everything in life, you just got to take it one day at a time. I said in the beginning of this journey, there'll be a few things that will happen that will cause a cascading domino effect. Number one is, you have the government issue a national emergency, and that restricts certain freedoms and liberties that normally you have the right to. Then you have an economic collapse. Initially you had the stock market tank, then the Federal Reserve backed it up. But no matter what the stock market will say at this point, that's very artificial. The facts are 17 million people are laid off. That's a lot of money out of the economy. 17 million people will not get hired just like that. Some people are still fighting to get their first unemployment check. So, the economy is in question. I think recession, in my opinion only, I think recession is a definite. And a recession is defined as 6 months or 12 months of economic slowdown. A depression is more than 2 years in an economic slowdown. That's in general speaking terms. So I said first you have the national emergency, then you have the economy going in a downward trajectory. And then the third thing you would have is civil unrest, meaning people are becoming anxious, some depressed, and even the president and other political leaders have referenced, like, if we continue to keep society in a state of lockdown, we will see suicides and bad behavior, etc. Mr. Smith, $2 super chat. Never date a girl who has a storage unit, trust me. Well, I can certify that as a factual statement. And it's good to laugh, keep your sense of humor throughout disasters. But a storage unit is a mentally unhealthy thing. You're paying someone else to keep stuff that you don't use. It's a very inefficient behavior unless you have a business or unless you're in the process of moving. But if you're in a steady home and you're not in an emergency, if you're keeping a storage unit, there are exceptions, but it's a sign of someone whose life is out of order, someone whose life is inefficient. However, look, most relationships are based on the objective of I do better with someone else. That's not a bad thing. I certainly would not promote everyone be single. However, just like the Bible said, in my opinion, I don't believe in everything in the Bible says, but I think many people do good to be single. When the Bible said it, it was specifically talking about when in society there was major problems. When there's major problems, guys, the last thing you need to do is bring other people into your life to cause more stress. I was talking to someone today who isn't married, but they live with someone, and they're going through major arguments. The strain on a relationship, definitely a bad relationship, the strain on a relationship when you got two people that aren't going to work and that are constantly gnawing at each other, that causes depression, fights, divorce, etc. And that's what the statement is when you hear the president or other people saying we need to get back to work. Going back to work does not improve mental health, but for many people, going back to work is getting away from their kids, their family, just having an outlet. Now, obviously, look, work is also productive. You need to do something productive in your life. So, work and society functioning has value. Is that the future of society? Well, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and we'll go to all live comments. I want to know what your opinion is. Would you reopen the country? What do you see as the future of the country in the next 6 to 12 months? This is what I see in my opinion. I could be wrong, but this is my opinion. I think on May 1st, if everything trends the way it is, in my opinion, I think the president will open the country up gradually. I believe that everyone will still be mandated to wear a mask or a scarf covering over their face when entering in stores. I do not believe every business will be open, restaurants, etc. There may be some restrictions around that. I believe more businesses will open. I do not believe that every airplane will be flying. I believe there'll be more airplanes. There'll be major restrictions still, but on a small or medium level, the president will open up certain parts of the country. The problem is, the United States is a collection of states that make their own individual choice. Just like now, right now there's no national directive from the federal government that each state has to shut down. They've been recommended, but, they can be overridden by the federal government, but the states have individual rights. Similar to weed. Marijuana is federally illegal in America. Certain states voted it legal, but if the federal government wanted to, they could arrest people because it's still federally illegal. So it's like the same thing with the opening up of the country. And Trump even alluded to it. The president said that, look, if I say like the country's open and some states decide not to, like if the governor of New York decides not to, he can override the governor. Now, obviously, there's going to be some contention. My biggest concern, whether they open up the country in May, June, or whatever, my biggest concern is the second wave. The Spanish flu in 1918, which was the last big, great pandemic, especially in America, 50 million people died. The majority of people who died and got sick was during the second wave. The Spanish flu started in March. They kind of had it a little bit under control. Then it came back in September, and that second wave spurred infections and caused mass destruction. The biggest threat, and this is why the president said, looking forward into the future, his biggest decision of his life will be deciding when to reopen the country. If they reopen the country and the wave of infections spread and the deaths go even faster. Right now, again, America has the most deaths over any other country. 20,000 people have died. So if that spikes up and the healthcare industry gets overwhelmed, etc., that would be a disaster. And then you'd have even more economic collapse, more unrest, and then you have a longer lockdown. The future is in question. I think based on what we're seeing, the calculated risk will be to reopen at least America in the beginning of May, in my opinion. And then they're going to evaluate to see if it spreads. Society will not be back to normal as far as back to how it was before the coronavirus, in my opinion, for at least over a year to 2 years. And someone alluded to a vaccine, etc. Now, look, I don't think vaccines are all evil. I got vaccines to be able to go to public schools, okay? Like the measles, polio. Those are real things, guys. You get a vaccine. It's not a hoax that 20,000 people are dead. It's not a hoax that there's mass graves in New York City. Bill Gates wasn't alive during the Spanish flu. Everything is not a conspiracy theory. Is this maybe a government sinister thing? It's possible. But guys, the facts are the facts. You know? And as you start to look into the future, it's very much not going to be the future. It's not going to be what it was 2 months ago anytime soon. In February, when you were traveling at will, you were not wearing a mask, you were not social distancing. It won't be that again, in my opinion, for at least 2 years. At least a year and a half, in my opinion. But I think the risk is, if you don't do anything to give the people a little bit of hope, I think people will go even, I don't want to say crazy, but more crazy, more fights in the house, more domestic dispute, more economic loss. Now, maybe May is too early. That's debatable. We're going to have to see how the data comes in 3 weeks. So that's how I'll end the subject. Then we'll go to all live comments is, look, guys, right now, the future is this. We have to get through these next few weeks. We have to get to the beginning of May, and we have to reevaluate. We may or may not agree with what they decide, but at the end of the day, mentally now, what you need to prepare yourself for, as I make this live feed, it's April 11th. You have to make it till May 1st, and then you're going to have to reevaluate. Now, if we get past May 1st and the gyms still aren't open and you still can't travel, I mean, that's going to be a huge hit for me. Because right now, if you say, Sam, what's the biggest thing you're struggling with? This is just me personally. It's not being able to go to the gym. I can navigate around a lot of other things, but me as a nomad specifically, not just for showers, but for working out is huge for my mental health and my well-being. The biggest regret I have right now is not having either a big enough RV where I could have weights in it or a home base that I could have weights in it, because for me, that matters to my quality of life. It's just something for me that works up. The Federal Reserve is managed by, I know Jimmy's talking about the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is managed by a board of directors. The board of directors is appointed by the president, okay, and managed by the Senate. So, Karen, oh my God, Karen, I've been praying for you, Karen. Karen is, Jimmy, I love you. Mr. Smith, thank you. I saw the, the Surgeon General talk about yesterday, because right now, statistically, more people who are minorities, Black and Hispanic, they're saying have higher risk statistically. And so the Surgeon General, who is, I think he's Puerto Rican and Black, he went up there yesterday and said, don't drink alcohol and don't smoke. And it was like, but it wasn't that, like he said, don't go to like Big Mama's house and all this other shit. It was crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But thank you, Mr. Smith. But Karen is a viewer I knew before YouTube. I used to know through Facebook when I was looking at moving to Florida. She lives in Florida. I won't say the part, Central Florida. And she has a respiratory issue. Karen, believe it or not, out of everyone, I mean, my mom, obviously, number one, but the number two person that came to my mind when this happened was you. Because Karen has a respiratory, I don't know if it's an illness. You could share, Karen, but she has some type of thing with her respiratory system. So I said, God, I said, look over Karen, because I've been thinking about you and praying for you. Now, I think the area of Florida you're in is not that bad as far as infection rate. I don't know how you guys are doing with testing. But the only thing I can say, Karen, is I thank God that at least you're in my live chat, so I know that you're all right, because I've been thinking about you. I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I couldn't check in on you. But Karen, I love you. Just know that I do pray about you still, and I do think about you. I think about all the people, whether like my mom who have diabetes, whether people overweight, or people with some type of underlying disease. I think about them, and I realize that any of us can catch it. But love to you, Karen. I just want to read her comment, then we'll go all live. Things. Karen says, some like me will be extremely cautious. Yeah, I've been thinking about you. For at least a year, you should be. Hey, Sam, great to see you, Karen. Made my day. I've been overwhelmed with the facts. Don't watch too much news. I had to tell my mom today. She was all worked up. Sorry I haven't caught up. That's all right. You take care of yourself. Just hearing from you is a blessing from the Lord. And thank you, Mr. Smith, for your kindness, brother. Look, Karen's one of the good people. Mr. Smith, one of the good people. Mr. Smith, I saw even Valerie commented on one of your older posts today. So at least like, that bridge is getting mended. Because like I say, she's been respectful to me and you've been respectful to me. So I'm glad at least she reached out to you to form some peace. But, just remember that. And that's why I said, like, even this morning, I had to kick myself in the ass because, look, I've been feeling a little bit down. I'm human. But I had to kick myself in the ass. I said, Sam, be thankful. People got a lot worse than me. Okay. And now I believe you got to share about what you don't like, but then you got to kick yourself in the ass because you can only throw a pity party so long. You got to just push yourself. There's no easy way around, mental health and physical health. You got to push yourself. There's just part of life. Okay. And no matter what the future holds, even if you go back to everything normal tomorrow, you're always going to have to push yourself a little bit. But yeah, guys, to Karen's point and to my greater point, then we're going to go all live comments is, guys, I don't see this ending as far as back to normal anytime soon. However, I do see society gradually opening things up, but with a lot of restrictions. Let's just put it like that. All right, let me take a hydration break and read all live comments. I appreciate those who click that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not. Mr. Smith, thank you again. And Karen, it's a blessing to see you. Love to you and your cats, Karen. Karen's got a nice home. I almost bought a condo in her community. I ended up going a little bit further south in Florida, though, from where Karen's at. But she lives in a great area. I met a couple of great viewers from that area, too. Space Coast. I'll say the Space Coast. I won't say the exact area. Let's read all live comments. Luke, what's up, brother? Great to see you, man. Positive vibes to you. Awesome, man. It was a little bit warmer today in New Jersey. Thank God, sunny. Not great. But it's better. I got to be thankful for what it was. I think it was like 57 degrees with sun. So I got to take that and be thankful. Positive vibes, brother. I appreciate that. We're all trying to hang in there as best we can. Luke, today you did Instacart. 3 deliveries, $100. Guys, that is the best thing, especially if you get laid off, man. Instacart and DoorDash. Instacart and DoorDash right away. Because and that's the biggest reason why I'm a little bit cautious on getting a Class B RV. Because I closed that window of being able to Instacart or DoorDash if I needed to. And that's why I think sometimes travel trailer or home base. Let's continue to read. Luke, it's really sad to see my local restaurants crushed. Yeah, business 90% down. I think restaurants take the biggest hit in the future and currently. Even high-end restaurants, whether you were a small mom and pop restaurant or even if you were just a family-owned business, if you were making great money last year as a business, restaurant-wise, you may go bankrupt, and you may not ever come back. That's the truth. I pray you're able to. I know they have some government programs and stuff, but again, even when we open up in the future, I don't see society going back to eating at restaurants at the same level they did just 2 months ago. So if you can make it through 2 more years, you may be able to recover, but the future a little bit is unknown. Uncle Arthur, I appreciate your comments. Thank you for that thumbs up. Luke, hey, what's up? Your thoughts on Ocean City, New Jersey? I like the area, nice family beach. Yeah, Ocean City is nice. It's a little congested. Their boardwalk is very nice. I do like south of Atlantic City if you're going to be in the coastal areas. But Ocean City is nice. I would try to stay a little bit on the outskirts of Ocean City because it's a little bit congested. It's actually a dry town, no alcohol, which is fine with me because I don't drink alcohol. The boardwalk is nice, but housing is a little bit congested on top of each other. Just south of Atlantic City, Ocean City is. Let's continue to read. Luke, what you gonna do for Easter tomorrow? Eat at Wawa gas station. My mom asked me that, and just putz around, man. Try to walk by the beach in the cold weather. It's not going to be ice cold. I mean, I think it'll be like 60, but cloudy. And that's it. I won't see my mom. I'm feeling better, though. I think in 2 more weeks, if I still feel better and if I'm still in New Jersey, I'll see my mom. That's my plan right now. My goal for the future is to make it through the next few weeks and make it to May 1st and then reevaluate. That's what everyone's goal should be. Ben, do you believe we should reopen now or then? It's a good question, Ben. Thank you for the comment. Look, as of now, I don't have all the data as the government officials, but as of now, if things trend the way they would, I would open things very gradually with a lot of restrictions in the beginning of May just to keep the people hopeful and a start. However, I would seriously evaluate that and I would have a lot of restrictions on it. That's my personal opinion. I don't know, thank you for the question. Gerald, good to have you, brother. $2 super chat. Bless you, Sammy. Get some Starbucks. Thank you, brother. I ain't been to Starbucks since I left Florida. Florida was the last cup of Starbucks I've been drinking at the coffee at the gas station. Starbucks is still open down here, but I can't go inside. It's all drive-through, and it's not that nice. Damn it, Pluto. $10 super chat, man. Just got our stimulus checks. Did you? Just got our stimulus checks. Wanted to share. Much love from Tariq. And that's his brother. Pluto, shouts to also my fellow Floridian, man. Shout to you and Tariq. Did you really, Pluto? You just got your stimulus? Damn, man. I thought no one got them, man. So, Pluto, thank you for the update, brother. Thank you for the tip, man. Shout to you and Tariq, all my Floridians. Gerald, Pluto, and Mr. Smith, man. Thank you guys for the tip. I appreciate that. Wow, I didn't know that, man. That's interesting. Mr. Smith, thank you again. Yeah, you got to be careful with people with the storage units. I agree. Tommy, Texas governor just announced a partial startup of business in his state very soon. Yeah, thank you, Tommy. Yeah, Texas was one of the states that was slower to lock things down. I think their infection rates are ticking up. I don't know their death rates. They have a lot of land, though. Texas is a very big state, one of our biggest. So obviously there's obviously that's not densely populated, so that knocks down some of the risk. So yeah, I mean, each state and there's no exact science to this. Like I often say, science needs to be respected, and you have to adhere to science and technology, but also there's no exact to it, But obviously, look, when you're dealing with deaths and something that can infect the country and totally if this is done incorrectly, you could paralyze our country for decades. If it reopened and the things started to spread, it could. Now, obviously, I think we're more prepared than in 1918 during the Spanish flu. I think we have a better infrastructure, better healthcare, better communication system. So I wouldn't think it would get that bad. Okay. But still, 20,000 people is a lot of people that have died in 4 weeks, man. I know it's a small percentage of our population, but if that was your mother or your friend, I mean, that's, you got to remember that, that could really get nasty. So it's a thin balance, man. It really is, man. Thank you again, guys, for the love. Ben, did Trump move too late? ? He seems to only care about himself and not the poor Americans who are dying left and right. Yeah, it's a tough thing to say because obviously I wasn't in all the government meetings. Obviously, in hindsight, I think you could say without a doubt he moved too late. I'll be a little bit fair to him, though, to say, look, I mean, this is one of the things that, even with all the information, it's very hard to say we're shutting down everything without having been through this in 100 years. What I will say he hasn't done well is prioritize the working class people above the corporations and Wall Street. He is an elitist. He grew up in pure wealth. He never had to struggle to pay for healthcare, never had to struggle to pay for utility bills. So that doesn't mean he's evil, but it means he is technically elite. It means I don't count him on regulating the Federal Reserve, even though he appoints the board of directors to the Federal Reserve. Okay. So I think he leans more on his gut than science. Okay. You can make the argument that Obama leaned more on science than his gut. You have to find a balance. But look, he got it wrong. Again, I want to be fair. I mean, this would be a very hard one for anyone to get 100% right. But the way he talks in the press conferences, look, his strong skill set is not empathy. It's not compassion. It's not for the regular person. It's It's an emotional, go by the gut, aim for the sky type guy. He has a recurring pattern of his life to taking on too much debt, taking on too much risk, and bankrupting his businesses. And as soon as a relationship doesn't work for him, whether it's his ex-lawyer Cohen, whether it's his ex-wives, as soon as someone can't do something for him, he cuts them out and he basically just disrespects them. So he has a recurring pattern in his life before the presidency. He's a great entertainer, a great talker, a great salesman. He's a horrible business operator. He's a horrible empathetic person. And so, that's what he is. That's why I did not vote for him. Because for me, policy matters more than politics. I think he's better with politics than Hillary Clinton. I liked Hillary Clinton. Policy's better. I like the fact that we just went $3 trillion in debt in a matter of 3 weeks, and we still don't have universal health care. That's a national disgrace. The fact that we have to do stimulus checks and we don't have universal basic income. If we're going to go in debt as a country, and already we were $22 trillion in debt with the greatest economy ever. If we're going to go in debt as a country, if we're going to print money as a country, if we're going to do that, the people, the working class, number one, the people who are vulnerable, number two, should be taken care of first. The rich corporations, if they don't like it, let them go do business somewhere else. Because guess what? Even when times are good, they do business somewhere else. They outsource the jobs, and the definition of capitalism is you profit above anything else. So even if it means a negative thing to society, if you means you can make a profit, you technically have a duty to your shareholders. Okay? That's the definition of capitalism. And capitalism is dying. I mean, if it wasn't for the government bailing it out, it would have died already. And so the next generation, AOC, will be a better leader. She will. And she won't be perfect, but guys, I say, look, Joe Biden won't be perfect, but I'd rather have Social Security by the age of 60 than bailing out Boeing. Okay? So guys, I don't care. I care about policy, not about how entertaining or how direct someone talks. Trump was endearing because he talked directly. However, if you talk directly, but if you have bad policies and you aren't taking care of the working class and lower class people, that doesn't matter. Like he was asked the other day, what about the fact that minorities are being affected at a higher percentage than anyone else in the country with the coronavirus? He goes, well, I've done more for minorities than anyone else. I had the lowest unemployment rate with minorities. It's for him to make that statement would show how disconnected he is from not just minorities, but from working class people. You know what I mean? It's like, it's to me, that was worse than I remember when Hillary Clinton was interviewed by the Breakfast Club and a radio station, Hot 97, and they said, what do you keep in your purse? And she goes, I keep hot sauce. That was horrible too. But at least she wanted universal health care. That's fact. So, that's kind of like my thought process. And then he said, yes, so look, I think Trump leans towards big business because that's where he was brought up. And that's what he knows. That's his environment. He wasn't brought up in a working class community. He wasn't brought up with a struggling single mother. He wasn't brought up struggling with healthcare. So how could he relate? You couldn't. He had never had to struggle with college loan debt. That's why he never wanted to forgive college loan debt. Even though he himself didn't get out of debt, he claimed bankruptcy. He knows how to game the system. See, he knows how to take on debt, and then when he can't pay it back, he'll claim bankruptcy. See, the problem with college loan debt is you can't bankrupt it. The government should have already passed a law that you can bankrupt it. Because if Donald Trump can bankrupt millions and billions of dollars, and so did Dave Ramsey, why can't a college loan, middle-class working person do that? Or someone trying to work their way out of poverty do that? That's not right. You know what I mean? Like that would have been your top priority before lowering the tax rate for corporations. Where is your policy? You didn't cover pre-existing conditions. You tried to tear down Obamacare, and then you said you were going to replace it. He never replaced it. He just tore it down. For me, if you cared about the working class or the lower class, you addressed the number one cause of bankruptcy, which is healthcare. The number two thing is college loan debt. And then the number three thing is you bring manufacturing back. He didn't do any of those things. Even the trade deal was all about farmers, nothing about manufacturing. And China had an out that if there was a global pandemic, they do not have to honor the trade deal. So technically right now, China was smarter than the United States. So if you look deep enough beyond the talking points and beyond the blunt, direct, endearing way that Trump has to come across, his policy is failing, just like it did when he had businesses. It's just entertainment. It's just entertainment. It's not good foundational policy. It leads to a boom, then a bust. A boom, then a bust. Look at Atlantic City. Look at his casinos. Look at his life with his relationships. It's that way. He has a consistent pattern. And, it is what it is. But now, do I think Hillary would have done better? It's hard to say. It would be unfair to me to say Hillary would have done better. However, her policy would have been better. We would have probably already had a better system where, whether it was through healthcare, because she wanted healthcare reform in the 90s. I remember her fighting that for. And I think she would have been at least pushing us forward in a pathway of universal basic income, where you don't have to wait for a government bailout check, for basic income. So that's my overall thoughts. Luke, I saw you earlier video today. I feel, Sam, you should definitely get that RV and RV lot, and then you always know you got a stable home base, get a mobile to go around. Yeah, I really like this Class B that I see. It's in a faraway state. That's a logistical problem. And then I shut off revenue to DoorDash. I definitely know. I like the RV lot option, but there's nothing right now on the market. So the only good thing that may come through a recession is I may be able to get a piece of property or RV cheaper. But right now, we haven't been shut down long enough for that to happen. You won't see prices in real estate or prices on vehicles come down until we get into the late summer. If we get into the late summer and bankruptcies happen and people who once had a small business or once were working for a company and then you're going to see prices come down. Isaac, hey guys, currently DoorDashing. That's a great way to make money right now. Waiting in the drive-thru. Will Isaac drive safe? If I needed to, I would DoorDash right now. Juan, Sam, God bless you, and God bless you also. Thank you. Mr. Smith, our 1,200 checks are supposed to be in our account. Well, Pluto just said it's in there now. Monday morning, Pluto, thank you again, and thank you, Mr. Smith. I didn't know they were already there. Thank you, guys. Luke, I didn't see them doing anything till midsummer because I feel it could be a disaster for the fall and the second year on the colder months. Yeah, look, the weather doesn't play a part. Right now, there's no science to back up that weather kills the coronavirus. There's a lot of coronavirus cases in Florida. When I was in Florida and I saw people getting the coronavirus, it was 90 degrees. So temperature right now, there's no science to say temperature matters when it comes to the coronavirus. Mr. Smith, a lot of businesses will let most of their workforce work from home after training. What's the point of showing up to the office? No, definitely. I think in the future, more companies will have more people working from home than before. I think that's true. Luke, I hope we definitely go back to normal soon. I am ready to get grinding on my eBay business again. Glad I did not drop that money on a massive inventory. Good job, Luke. Like I always tell you, with retail, you do not want to have high levels of inventory because that will bankrupt you. And I do not foresee, even if the government opens up the country again in May, I do not foresee people doing a lot of discretionary spending, whether it's on buying sports jerseys or t-shirts. People, you have 16 to 17 million people laid off. Okay, you're not going to have a lot of people buying things they don't need. It's just they can't do it yet. Jimmy, he says, first you get hoaxed, then you get vaxxed. Well, I don't think it's a hoax. I think 20,000 people have died. Now, where did that come from and how did it start? That's to be investigated. I don't know. I'm not going to say China did it because we don't have evidence. Just like I'm not going to say Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. We never had evidence. However, I'm not going to say it's a hoax either because we have mass graves in New York. So I think we have to balance those thoughts. Luke, laughing. That's so true, Jimmy. I disagree, but I respect your opinion. Luke, Tom, Texas governor just announced a partial startup of business. That will be a good barometer for the rest of America. Well, not necessarily the rest of America, because again, Texas is one of the biggest states in America. New York, New Jersey, they're very densely populated. California, very densely populated. So, and Texas right now, they're struggling with gas prices because the biggest industry in Texas is oil. Right now, oil prices are $23 a barrel. So we're not energy independent. We never were. We are dependent upon Saudi Arabia and Russia's output of oil. So we need to go to more sustainable energy because Texas right now, even if you open up their economy, if oil stays low, the economy of Texas will hurt. So each state has a different industry that they thrive on. Like California thrives on technical jobs, tech jobs. New York is the financial epicenter of the world. Florida is the healthcare capital of the world. Each state has a different industry that they specialize in. Texas is an oil state. Texas is diverse. Look, all states have diversity, but I'm just trying to tell you that why America is unique, because again, we're a collection of 50 states that are united and regulated by the federal government. And Texas is very big, so it's very spread out. However, look, you have Dallas, which is a major city and densely populated. So it'll be different between the rural parts of Texas versus the city parts, just like every other part of the country. Luke, it's still going to be weird being in the grocery store and seeing the lines and the separation with people with masks on. Yeah, I mean, it's still a little freaky seeing everyone go with either homemade masks, surgical masks, or like me, they go to the store with their scarf. And, it's a sign of the times, But now it's becoming second nature. Like the first day, people were laughing like, oh my God, look at us. Now it's second nature. So in 3-4 months, and in my opinion, in the future, even if society's opening, I think, in my opinion, you're going to be wearing a face mask for the next 3 to 6 months minimum. So I think people will just be used to it. And again, like I say, I think in the fall, people will have a face mask of their favorite football team, of their favorite basketball team. And I think that if baseball, basketball, football, I think if they have their next season, I think they're going to play without people in the stadium or a very limited amount of people. Brandon, $5 super chat. Waiting on my stimulus check. Pluto from Florida just said he got one. He goes, I'm waiting on my stimulus check and watching you get even closer to 11K subs. Thank you, Brandon, for your love and staying with me again. Shout out to all my truck drivers, you, Savat, Mr. Smith. Yeah, Pluto said he got it, and Mr. Smith said the stimulus checks may be coming tomorrow. That's good. To me, we should have got the stimulus checks to the middle class, working class, and lower class people a long time ago. That should have been first priority of the country, because that's the people who need it, not the corporations, not buying junk bonds on the stock market. That's what the Federal Reserve did last week. So, yeah, and I'm very thankful. I do see that I'm going closer to 11,000 subs. Look, during the coronavirus and me being willing to talk about politics, sex, or religion, it has helped my channel because people are in their house more and they want to talk about this, okay? So some people say, look, I'm only going to talk about RVing. But to me, that's why I always said I'll talk about sex, politics, or religion because it's part of life. And I've lost viewers because of that more than I've gained. And some people hate me because of that. I don't care. So, but what I've learned is you connect with more people in the long run if you're true to yourself and you're willing to live in your truth. Now, it doesn't guarantee your YouTube channel will grow or your life will grow, but it always guarantees you'll be in a good space. But to do that, you have to live below your means. Like I see people like Bob Wells or even Nomadic Fanatic, like they're trying to do videos on RVing or living in your car. And to me, that's a disgrace right now. Because one is, if anything, this shows you that most people should not be living in their vehicle, especially the elderly, the sick, or people with children. And two is, look, I mean, are you trying to sell living in your car? Or are you trying to say, like, this is what you should be doing? It's like, you have to be honest. Like, there's a time to say, look, guys, we got to talk about the coronavirus. You can't talk about, like, putting a stovetop in the back of your van. However, some people look at YouTube and at life as an escape. And they like to look at movies and videos as an escape. And I can respect that. I'm more of a realistic person. I've always been like that. And that's why some people don't like me. Even my mom, like, she wouldn't watch stuff like me. She would watch, like, the Hallmark Channel. And I respect that. That's my mom. She's got to escape. For me, I got to do the real deal. And I got to, like, be true to myself. But thank you, brother, and I appreciate that. Yeah, look, I hope my YouTube channel continues to grow because I do enjoy doing it. Thank you, brother, for the tip. Luke, if you take a Bill Gates vaccine, could be not good for you, Sam. Well, again, I have to caution anyone who's thinking like that. That's like saying if I took the measles vaccine, it would not be good for me. If I didn't take the measles vaccine, I wouldn't be able to go to public school. That's where I graduated high school. So guys, vaccines have existed for a long time. And Bill Gates was not around during the Spanish flu. But it's good that you are thinking critically about. Don't just accept whatever Bill Gates or Donald Trump tells you as fact. However, I mean, also we have other vaccines. He goes, you should do a Sam Live in the New Jersey hospitals and see the real reality. Technically, I wouldn't be allowed to. They don't. The saddest part about the coronavirus is right now, if your mother got sick, God forbid, and had to go into the hospital, you would not be able to visit her. Same thing like if you had a parent in a nursing home, you're not allowed to visit them. That's, to me, heartbreaking. So, damn near they sure don't want some YouTuber that lives out of his car going in the emergency room with a video camera. I mean, I get locked up. I saw today in a park, a cop had stopped about 3 or 4 kids from Virginia. They were in the park playing football. They were kids. They were just throwing the football. They weren't that close together. But the park was closed, and it had like the red tape around the entrance of the park. Do not enter due to the coronavirus. Nobody's allowed to play in the park. And they entered, they jumped over the fence, and the cop came and said, look, you guys can't be here. And they left. They were respectful. So, guys, do I think people will be playing in the park if we reopen the country in May? No. I think the future is, if the country does reopen sooner than later, it's going to be at a limited, restricted level just to keep hope in society, keep things starting to flow, and to get like a rhythm. Luke, Sam reporting live. Well, it would be good for ratings, but it'd be bad for my arrest report. Broadcasting the real news to the people. Well, guys, don't forget I did a live broadcast from the massage parlor in Jupiter, Florida, when Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, got caught getting a blowjob. And I was the first to report that. I was there with the reporters. So whenever I can, if I'm at a massage parlor, I'll give you a live update. But I ain't going to go into the middle of the emergency room. Ricardo, will you be going back to Florida? Good question, Ricardo. Shout out to Massachusetts. Right now, my future plans are I'm going to be in New Jersey till May 1st. Then I'm going to reevaluate where society is. Do I think I'm going to go back down to Florida in May at the height, where it's not the height, but it's going to be starting to get hot? Probably not. However, if there's a piece of property or an RV down there, I will go back down there. I do not want to live in my car in Florida without an air conditioning. I'm not going to do that again. Just like I'm not going to do, if I can help it, I am not going to live in extreme heat or extreme cold anymore. I'm done with that. Now, I don't know how I'll figure it out, whether I get an RV or I'm going to set up a tent with an air conditioning in it at a campground. But last year, it was very tough living in my car with no air conditioning, and I got sick 1 week. And you guys see the videos when I lived in my car in New Jersey in the winter. That was a disaster. But now I'm at the point where I'm done with that. Because I'm hurting myself physically, and it's stupid. There was a point where I needed to do it, and I wanted to do it. Now I don't. And I could add some more comfort, and I will, but it has to be the right time, the right opportunity. But until then, I'm going to make sure I'm not going to be sleeping in my car in extreme weather. Josh, what's up, Nomad? I literally just got a sponge bath. God bless you, man, at your storage unit. It's my only option, but been working. I hear that, man. My nomads are struggling, man, right now. My last time I took a shower was about 4 days ago at a truck stop. So I'll probably be going in a couple days. I've been doing like once a week at a truck stop. Not ideal, but it's not hot in New Jersey right now, so I'm really not sweating during the day. And other than that, I'm just wiping down. Ricardo, what's up, man? Great to see you. Jimmy, COVID-19 brought to you by the makers of the Federal Reserve, JFK, and 9/11. It's possible it's all a conspiracy theory, but again, then you would say Donald Trump's behind it because the Federal Reserve is appointed by the president and the Senate or the board of directors that manage them. And even the Fed, the president of the Fed, So look, guys, big money controls the world. Money is nothing. Money is made up by governments, right? We know that as fact. There's no conspiracy. So that's why we can print unlimited amount of money. Because, guys, money was only created so that you could organize society and reward people for doing certain activities, right? That's the whole purpose of money. And it doesn't need to be tied to gold. Because, guys, value of gold is only something valuable because we deem it valuable, right? Like in a real Armageddon scenario, gold would have no value. Food, water, and shelter have value. Gold, a currency, a digit in your bank account, they only have value because they allow you to get resources in society to do something. And they reward people for doing things so that you structure society where there's not anarchy and chaos. It makes sense. And I actually think the Federal Reserve did a better job than farmers and people who were bartering. I would not want to go back 200 years when there was no Federal Reserve. Everyone was a farmer. You were living off the land. Most people were in poverty, and you had no medical advances. So as much as I do think the Federal Reserve is corrupt, we are doing better than we were 200 years ago. So we have to give some credit that the barter system was more broken than the Federal Reserve. Right now, the poorest among us in America have guaranteed food stamps, guaranteed Medicaid, and guaranteed subsidized housing. It may not be a great life. I know I have family members living that life, but it's better than living on a farm, picking crops, working for a couple nickels, and you don't have a car. Cars don't exist. Modern medical society doesn't exist. Google doesn't exist. So the Federal Reserve and capitalism and all the systems in the world in their own way add something. So does socialism. So does Social Security and Medicare, which is a subsidy socialist program. It's a balance of thought between all those things that is needed to push forward. But balance is not sexy. Going all in is sexy. No one wants to go to the crap table and balance their bets. No one wants to start a business and go half in. It's only exciting if you go all in. Okay, and that's what creates bubbles, that's what creates bust, and that's what makes humans take on too much risk, and eventually we fail, and then we reset. However, it's a balance, not to get too risky. Luke, keep that beard, man. I appreciate that. I definitely want to trim it some. I'm not going to keep it this long. And grow it longer, my man. Nah, I'm not Samson, man. I want to trim it some. There's no doubt about that. Don't stop, get it. Tootsie Roll. Yeah, I remember Tootsie Roll. Now, I ain't going to do that, man. But I love you. And Karen, you made my night tonight, Karen. I've been praying for you. I hope you're still in here. If you're not, I love you. And I appreciate you. I'm praying for you and your cats. And again, Karen's someone with respiratory problems. She lives in Florida. I met her online. There are good people in the world, guys. Everyone's got problems. You're not going to meet anyone that doesn't have problems. But there are some people that are decent. Now, some people manipulate you. Some people act like they're nice just to get something out of you. That's the reality of life, too. But it's like everything. It's like a vaccine. There are some vaccines that help extend human life expectancy. Like, guys, why 200 years ago human life expectancy was less? It's because more people were dying from diseases. Okay, so you have to think about, like, when modern medicine and heart surgery first started to take place, and removing your tonsils, and all the different things. Think about what people thought about that. Like, removing your tonsils, that's the Antichrist. Getting heart surgery, I'm not going to let someone put a chip inside my heart. So, guys, it's like, you can only conspiracy theory so much. I'm not mocking conspiracy theory because some is true, and it's good to question what's truth. But you have to balance it. And Karen says, I'm quietly living the life. I love you. Love to you, Sammy. Staying back to you. You hold on to your cats and everyone in Florida. Florida will always be my home. Karen's originally from Ohio. Like most people who live in Florida, they've come from another state. Luke laughing good. Mr. Smith, thank you again, brother, for being a great supporter. I don't take for granted any of the tips, guys. Mr. Smith, Pluto, Gerald, and Brandon, guys. Thank you a lot. That means a lot. It really helps me, man. So I thank you. Jimmy, Federal Reserve is privately owned. In some instances, yes, but they're regulated by publicly elected officials, a public board. And money itself is currency and based on a budget voted on by the Senate. That's why when you raise the debt ceiling, you have to get Senate approval. So it's not totally private. The Federal Reserve cannot just print money without approval from their board, from the Senate, from the press, to a certain extent. So you have to look a little bit deeper into it. Dial for Josh. Nomad, buy 2 cases of 1 gallon water. Each case weighs 50 pounds. You can put each on a strong, do some like dumbbells. I've been thinking about that. I went into Walmart to buy some weights to work out. They didn't have any. In New Jersey, it's not warm enough to exercise outside every day. And right now, if I was living in a Class B, I would definitely do it. But I can't stand up. I live in my car. It's not hot enough to work out outside other than walk. So that's what really been making me think about a RV or home base, because it's killing me not to be able to work out. It's killing me. Luke, Sam is the freaking Puerto Rican rabbi Italian stallion. Well, love to that. Yeah, that's pretty much who I am. Thank you, Luke. I am in a funny mood, man. It's good to have a sense of humor. Always keep it. Me and the lady trying to do Easter. To you and your Russian PYT. Easter hunt tomorrow. Hey, man, I know where I would hide the eggs. Got any ideas? Well, I just thought some is better left as a mystery. Luke, you know I love you, man. I love you too, brother. And Karen, you know I love you. She goes, it is a generic flaw. I am alone. That's a blessing. And stay safe. Love you, Sammy. I love you too. Well, again, sometimes I'll talk to my mom, and sometimes she gets sad being alone. But I said, Ma, remember when my sister lived with you? They would fight every night. Now, I do think you should visit the elderly if, not right now. Because look, right now, the sad reality is I don't think you should be visiting elderly people unless you live with them, because you don't want to give them anything. However, look, you want to spend quality time with the elderly, or with people in general that need some support, and you yourself need support. We all do. But all of us need to be a level of independent as far as having our own space. Having our own space. I often say, if you were to buy a house, each person needs 250 square feet. Now, you don't need more than that. So if two people lived in a house, you need 500 square feet, not 1,000. That's why I think about, maybe I should have bought that tiny house, that 500 square foot house. It would have been good for me, and I get my mom down there. I would have had enough separation. Like right now, if I buy an RV, there's no way I could live in the same RV with my mom. I'd go nuts. People need their space. Now, we get lonely, but like many girls I dated and like myself, if you spend too much time with someone, it's a repellent. It's a unpeaceful thing. There's a lot of peace in being by yourself. However, look, you also do need some human companionship. It's a balance. Alexander at Karen, also in Central Florida. Love to everyone out there, and shout out to the Space Coast. Also got a good viewer, Don. Don and his wife. I forgot Don's wife's name. They're from Melbourne, Florida also. Jaybird. Karen, hi, I'm from St. Petersburg. I love my Floridians. Luke, you got this, man. Can't wait to see the direction you go. Something's going to happen. Thank you, brother. Karen, Florida is a great state. In my opinion, the greatest state. Now, I remember when I used to ask Karen about how hot the summer was, it's manageable. But I remember her Facebook post saying, as soon as it hits like August, late July or early August, I remember Karen saying those are the dog days of summer. Late July through October, very hot and humid. I could take it, but not without an air conditioner at this point. I did it last year, but I don't want to do it again. And hurricane season is nasty. And that's a good time to have fall weather. So, but look, that's why you be a snowbird, or you live in Florida full time and you take a vacation in August. That's all. Jimmy, if they pump the market up again, they already did, but it can only do that for so long, because if the economy doesn't recover, if regular people are out of work too long, it doesn't matter how artificially it's stocked. The worst thing they did, I'm going to do a separate video on it. Forget vaccines. The 401k, the 401k was the biggest part, one of the biggest parts. It was invented in 1978 by Wall Street. That was one of the part that started the wealth gap and the deterioration of the middle class. The 401k, which is a retirement supplemental program to Social Security, it replaced pensions and annuities. What's the difference between a 401k, pensions, and annuities? Pensions and annuities are guaranteed vested amounts that you'll get every month once you hit retirement age. A 401k is tied to the stock market. You can put it in different stock funds. You can put it in a money market, but it's basically tied to the stock market, especially if you want to grow. So what Wall Street did was they took the risk off the companies that employ you. They put all the risk on you with no guarantees, and they make you want to tell the Federal Reserve to keep the stock market propped up. Because the only reason most of the middle class want the stock market up is because that's where their retirement fund is. Unlike previous generations that had a growing middle class, when their retirement fund was pensions and annuities, guaranteed programs. Now, when your program is subject to the market, you want the stock market up or else you can't retire. I know many people, like when the stock market went down 40% in 3 weeks, that changed their retirement plans. So they want the government to inflate the stock market because without that, they can't retire. That's why Wall Street purposely did it. That's a bigger scam than anything else. Never forget it. And I'm I'm in the same boat. That's my retirement, So let's continue. Jimmy says, yeah, if they pump the market up, get out, get gold. Well, gold hasn't skyrocketed up, so gold is, I don't know what it is, 1,600. So gold is a good hedge. But I don't tell people how to invest. If you have a fully funded emergency account, 12 months worth of expenses in a savings account, and you've paid off your debt, do whatever you want with your money, whether it's buy gold, stocks, or whatever. I don't give advice. Alexander, neighbor to the north, Homasa. Thank you, brother. Wave to you. Josh, in my humble opinion, gyms won't come up until June. I think that's probably a good guess. I'm going to be hurting, man. I got to get back in the gym. That's true. Luke, Jimmy dropping gems. Yep. I somewhat disagree with him, but I love him. Mr. Mark, I'm worried about my mom, Gloria. She is very inactive. I understand that. I got the same way with my mom. And then Mr. Mark goes, and needs to lose weight. Same here, brother. I've tried to help in every way you can help. All you can do is love, listen, and don't try to fix her. How do you help your mother or anyone else? You can't. All you do is listen, love them, and keep your mouth shut. Very hard to do. Very hard to do, but that's what you do. How do you take care of your elderly mother or your wife or your whoever? You listen, you love, and you keep your mouth shut. And you create healthy boundaries and space for yourself. You will get in your biggest fights when you try to change someone or help someone. You will get in the biggest fights of your life when you try to change someone or help someone. And plenty of people do. They're enablers, they're drug addicts, they have mental problems, and some of it's self-induced. Because they want you to help them, and they have destroyed their own life, and they're trying to help someone else rather than help themselves. So what do? You listen, you love, and you create healthy boundaries, and you keep your mouth shut. And whoever doesn't like that, let them thumbs down and move on with their life. Your job as an adult is to put yourself in a healthy place. I could live with my mother every day and have diabetes like her, have unhealthy relations like her, and how does that show that I love her? It doesn't. And I got a big fight with my mom about that when I was trying to get out of obesity. I said, look, Ma, I love you and I appreciate everything you did for me. I'll never forget it. But I will not eat this food anymore, and I'm not going to be in this environment anymore. And whoever doesn't like that, I cut off my dad. My mom accepted that. If she didn't, I would have cut my mom out of my life. And I cut my father out. And I'll damn sure cut some psychopath on YouTube out. Or anyone else. Why? Because guys, I almost destroyed my life trying to save other people and make other people happy. Fuck that, man. I don't know the future of the world, but I can tell you this. When I die, it ain't going to be in someone's house that's in an unhealthy environment for me. I guarantee you. God willing. And what I can tell you, guys, you gotta set shit straight up front, or else you're going to be in a tornado of pain your entire life. Because you can go to therapy, you can listen to fucking Dr. Phil's ugly ass, you can listen to every psychiatrist in the fucking book. Okay. But bottom line, you have to change your life. You have to cut off certain relationships and put boundaries. You have to do the change. You cannot try to change other people. They're going to adopt another 3 cats. They're going to enable their drug addict child. Okay. And it's not their fault. That's who they are. You accept them, you love them, you listen, and you get the fuck out of Dodge. And excuse me for cursing, but this is what it is, and this is how I got to express it. And if someone don't like that, they get kick rocks too. Okay. And I'm going to take a hydration break because I'm going to let that breathe for a minute. You get that, change your life. Mr. Mark basically was talking about his mother. Please, Inspirational Nomad, give her some message of inspiration. I ain't going to give, I love you, but I basically gave what I tell all my own mom, and I love you both. And what I can tell you, Mr. Mark, is have your own place, and she ain't going to like what I said. And you're not going to like what I said, but I love you enough. And you know what I just said is fact because you're living through it. And I've lived through it. And I love you both. Maria, stay safe, Sam, and everyone. You too, Maria. Mr. Mark, stay safe, bro. You too, brother. God bless you and your family. Maria, stay safe, Karen. Love to her. Thank you, Maria. Jaybird, Xander Adventures. Hey, Snow Dog, what's up, brother? Shout out to NJ, man. What do you think, Sam? Did we get scammed or not? Are there powers to be behind the scenes either creating or molding the situation? Possibly. I definitely think we got scammed with the stimulus package. 2/3 of it went to corporations on Wall Street. Only 1/3 of it went to the people. Working class people and regular people. Okay, not lazy people. Okay. However, look, most people just care about their 401k and their gold. In America, we're not Christian. We're capitalists. Big difference. Okay. The golden rule in Christianity, and tomorrow's the biggest day in Christianity, Easter. Trump don't know nothing about that. The number one goal of Christianity is the golden rule, which means treat others how you want to be treated. Trump believes an eye for an eye, which is total opposite teaching of Jesus. Okay. So in America, we don't believe in that. In America, we believe in how much is an ounce of gold, how much is a barrel of oil, what is the Dow Jones Index. That's America. Now, America has that right because America shouldn't force any religion down anyone's throat. You should be able to be atheist, Buddhist, whatever. However, let's be honest about what America is. I don't know why we had off for Good Friday. We don't celebrate that. 16 million people laid off. And they have to wait in line for an unemployment check and corporations already got their bailout. The Federal Reserve is buying junk bonds on the open market to keep the stock market propped up. That's an insult to me. It's an insult. It should be an insult to every taxpayer who has to pay for that. Guys, it's not lazy people on the corner running up the national debt with food stamps. It's the corporations with bailouts. It's the military defense complex. And it's the Federal Reserve buying junk bonds. They never ask, how are we going to pay for that? Like, God forbid they increase like the SNAP program or college loan debt forgiveness or universal health care. How are we going to pay for that? Last week, when the Federal Reserve bought trillions of dollars of junk bonds, that goes on the national debt, man. They never ask, how are we going to pay for that? Because, guys, they're not Christian. They're not atheists. They're fucking assholes, man. They worship gold, man. They worship the Dow Jones average. That's how we got scammed. But that scam was happening before the coronavirus. If you watch my videos, I told you about that. When the stock market was at an all-time high and the middle class was still shrinking, okay? I told you guys, you're getting scammed already. Now, look, play the game. I'll play the game. You got to play the game. You got to eat. You know what I mean? But also, you have to speak up. It is what it is. But how do I feel? That's kind of how I feel. I love you, Snow Dog. You're a survivor, man. You're a smart guy. You're going to make it through no matter what. Tom, probably something like a Nuxus pass, forgive me for saying that wrong, will be needed in the future to go state to state. Yeah, some type of certification that either you have the antibody or you have the vaccine. Let me pause on that comment because that's a great comment. The key to reopening the country in the future, one is, I think in May, I think Trump is a guy who takes risks. He took a lot of risk and failed, including in his businesses. I think he'll take a risk to open up the country a little bit, and maybe rightfully so, because I may do the same thing. But if you're ever going to get back to a serious point of reopening the country in the future, it's all going to be tied to testing and a vaccine. You're going to get tested for if you already had the coronavirus and if your body has the antibodies to fight off the virus. And the other certification is a vaccine. Just like right now, you cannot go to the public schools if you don't have a vaccine for measles. In 2 years from now, you may not be able to send your children to public schools without a vaccine for the coronavirus. And you may not be able to travel from state to state. Well, I think it'd be very hard to regulate travel from state to state because they're not even doing it now, really. I think definitely a passport, international travel, part of your passport requirement will be getting tested for the coronavirus and or a vaccine certification. And because, guys, if you don't have international traffic, you don't have the economy fully opened up. You don't have society fully opened up. What's Florida's number one business? Tourism. Guys, even here in the Jersey Shore, do they hire Americans to work? No, a lot of the people they hire to work at McDonald's and at the food stands are foreign workers, just like Trump hires foreign workers at Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't hire Americans. So those foreign workers working at, like, whether it's the Mar-a-Lago or the Jersey Shore, or there's foreign visitors coming in, putting money, they're not going to be, you're going to have some regulation. So, it's a big change. And then Tom goes, they were already implementing the enhanced driver's license. Yeah, I have an enhanced driver's license. I have like the top certification, at least in Florida standards. I got like the gold star. So that's true. Good comment, brother. Ben, I live in the UK. Shout out to the UK. And I feel really sad seeing Trump. I hear you. And his BS press conferences. In my opinion, been very much a telltale sign. A lot of people blasted Cuomo. But in my opinion, if you watch a press conference of Governor Cuomo, who talks directly, I've been more impressed with his leadership than Trump. So that's fact. So you see the difference between two people. It doesn't mean I agree with Cuomo on everything or I disagree with Trump on everything. But look, guys, Trump is exactly who everyone knew he was. I know people who voted for Trump, and they basically said they did it like putting their head down. You know what I mean? And like at some times, like when the economy was doing good and nothing was bad, they say, oh, I'm glad I voted for Trump. I was scared. Guys, I didn't vote for Trump because even though I thought he would do some good things, I disagree with his policy. You know what I mean? But some people said, look, I disagree with him, but I think he'll do some good things right. And now they're suffering for that. I know Christian people who did it. I know a variety of people did it, of all races, all cultures. And in my opinion, look, there's no perfect president. But I look at the policy. I saw Trump's policies. He doesn't want abortion to be legal. He doesn't really believe in equal rights for gays. You could, like, all of his policy. Didn't he like rescind something where what serving in the military and being like transgender or something? Who voted for him? Caitlyn Jenner. He doesn't believe in modern technology. He doesn't believe in going like to the next level of solar energy, of like the Green Deal. He wants his oil companies subsidize the oil companies. Dirty energy. Doesn't believe in he does believe in climate change. He said it's real, but he's not willing to give up American wealth. So he is exactly who we thought he was, which was a slightly slanted racist conservative who basically says, I did a lot for the black community. Look at the unemployment rate. I mean, what kind of comment is that? All right. And two is, he's a narcissist, uncompassionate, brought up in wealth, and the bottom line, he doesn't love the country. He dodged the draft, and he only cheerleads for himself, not the country. He outsources jobs to foreign workers for his companies. He only hires his family members to run the top of the company. He outsourced his clothing line to China. He is exactly who we thought he was, which is just a salesman. However, many people buy a car just because of the salesman. Mr. Smith, $2 super chat. Well, I'll check the account. My stimulus check just came in. Pluto alerted us, man. It's about time, 4 weeks later. And $1,200 one-time stimulus check, in my opinion, is a disgrace. However, it's better than nothing. So, Mr. Smith, love to you, brother, and thank you for that tip, man. And Pluto, thank you for letting us know. Let's continue to read. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You've been very kind to me, brother. Karen says she missed going out to eat. It was part of my social life. I remember you used to post those pictures. I could tell you enjoyed that. That's a big hit for a lot of regular business owners and a lot of people that was their enjoyment of life, to go out to eat. And I understand that. I don't think that's going back to normal for a long time, at least a few more months, even if they reopen some of society. So, that's a tough one. But hang in there, Karen. Let's just try to get through these next couple of weeks. We'll be okay. Josh, mom and pop restaurants can at least do carry out. Yeah, but that's barely pays the bills, man. That doesn't even pay the bills, in my opinion. Maybe for some restaurants, maybe barely. But I remember when I did electrical contracting, I was in Elizabeth, New Jersey, I went to hang lights in some like taco, mom and pop taco restaurant. And I quoted the guy like $200. And normally it would have cost like $800. But I gave him a real good deal. I don't remember what it was. It was a couple $100 I quoted him. And he didn't want to take it. And that's all right because I never pressure people. And the worker I had with me, I said, man, why didn't he take that? So I gave him a great deal. And he goes, Sam, he goes, you know how many tacos he has to sell to pay for a couple $100? And I never really thought of it like that. But guys, just to pay for the rent, I think they say statistically, most small restaurants don't have enough to make it through 1 month of no revenues. So if they just had takeout, maybe that will get them through 6 weeks. But that's a huge hit, man. And you're going to have to obviously lay off a lot of workers, etc. A lot of the waitresses, cooks. That's all lower middle class people, regular working class people. That's a big hit, man. That's why 16 million people laid off, man. Sammy, I think the truck with a truck topper is the best way to go for more comfort and still easy maneuvering. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, not for me, but I respect your comment and I appreciate your point. Why don't I personally like a truck camper? Well, number one is the truck camper is pretty much the same thing as an SUV. It doesn't have the amenities of a self-contained RV. It's just a pickup truck with a cap on it. So pretty much my SUV, in my opinion, is better because I don't have to get out of my truck to go into the truck camper. And it's not really an upgrade because I already have 4-wheel drive on my Jeep Renegade. So for me, when I upgrade next, whether it's going to be a RV, travel trailer Class B, or a home, it's going to be fully self-contained. It's going to have a shower, toilet, a kitchen, and a sleeping quarters. That's what it means to be self-contained. I will not upgrade just to do a camper topper or something like that. And I'm not against it for someone else, but for me, that's where I'm at now after 3 years of living a primitive life. Infinity 1999, God bless you, Samuel. God bless you also, man. You guys have been very kind and generous to me. Infinity, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you all. Everyone showing me love, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Let's continue to read, man. I appreciate you guys. Mr. Smith, AI could never replace us truck drivers. I think we're a long way off. I think AI, standing for artificial intelligence, I think it will replace like the truck driving from California to Texas, where you have that big stretch of land where it's just a straight shot. But on a mass scale, like if you were driving a truck, over the George Washington Bridge in New York, it'd be a long way off. However, if the country shut down, I mean, you could have AI driving trucks right now and you'd be pretty efficient. So, because there's not really many people on the road, that's why they gave us a break on car insurance. Like if you have Geico, I think they gave you 15% off your car insurance because there's less people on the road, your risk is down. But I do think that truck driving is still it's not as good as it used to be when you had the Teamster Strong back in the day. It's still better than a lot of things, but it's not as strong as it once was. It was once a great middle-class job. Still middle class, but not as many benefits as there once was, in my opinion. I'm not in that field, so I'll defer to you. But yeah, I still think truck driving is a huge skill set, in my opinion. I mean, I'm scared to drive a Class B RV. Not scared, but I'm cautious. So I give a lot of credit to those who have the skill, the drive, and the passion to drive an 18-wheeler big rig. I give a lot of respect. And I think they should be compensated even more than they are now. Because I think that's a risky job. I think it takes a certain person. And yeah, I mean, I think I got a lot of respect for that. Alexander, sorry you have to watch those at Ben. It's embarrassing. I hear that, talking about the press conferences. Gerald, I love you, brother. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Hold your doggy tight, man. We're going to get through these next couple months. One day, and I appreciate your tip, I'll be sitting in Starbucks flirting with my baristas again. One day, God willing, in the future. Pluto, man, thank you for your generous tip, man. You're the first one to alert us before Trump that your stimulus check is in your bank account. Love to you and your brother Tariq, man. Snow Dog, Ocean City and caramel popcorn from the boardwalk. Check it out. Yeah, I've had that. Dial for Josh. Nomad sounds great, thank you. Hopefully the police won't quarantine you while you take a walk. Sometimes I'm scared like to go say something to me, but they've been pretty cool. They haven't said anything. As long as you're not walking by other people, they let you go. You should be fine. Yeah. They shut down all open parks here in Chicago. Well, love to everyone up there, man. Alexander, I really miss it too, Karen. I was talking about eating out, yeah. Josh, oh my God, Pluto. You're the first person I heard that. Yeah, he broke news tonight, man. Pluto broke news. Ben says, at Alexander, it's a shambles, mate. Do many Americans buy Trump's crap? No, look, more Americans voted for Hillary Clinton. The popular vote went to Hillary Clinton. Just like in 2000, the popular vote did not go to George Bush. It went to Al Gore. So there's been a couple times in American history where the majority of Americans voted for a different person, but because of the technical electoral vote, we ended up giving it to the other person. So really, more people wanted Hillary Clinton to be the president, but Trump won on a technicality. I understand why, because people wanted someone who talked directly, but I looked at his policies, not his direct talk. He's very endearing, he's very entertaining and energizing, but his policies are the same old, lower the tax cuts for the rich, spend, because guys, he brought the national deficit up even when the economy was good, rise, and spend money on the military. And I'm not talking about give money to the military officers. He gave money to the private defense publicly traded contractors, including Boeing. Boeing's one of the people getting a bailout. They're a defense contractor for airplanes. Hey, G. Hey, buddy. What do you think? Is this hoax on the media will end soon? Best regards. Tatas. Yeah, I mean, look, guys. I mean, 20,000 people have died so far, so I don't think it's a hoax. Are there powers to be pulling the strings? Possibly. But all we can do is focus on what we can control, and I just hope for the best. That's true. Illinois, love to you, brother. Just trying to get through 1 week at a time. That's wisdom. 1 day at a time, brother. 1 minute at a time. Same thing with living in your car. How do you get through these tough times? 1 day at a time. Same thing with if you were struggling with a drug or anything. Guys, you just got to get through life 1 day at a time. That's it. Not easy. Staying under the radar. That's a smart man. Like someone asked me the other day, they said, Sam, if you get an RV, are you going to miss stealth camping? No, I don't. Because to be honest with you, I'm tired of stealth camping. Because, your mind doesn't fully rest when you know, like, you're in a parking lot that someone can knock, even if you're legally parked. That's why I don't really, I don't know, man. I'm towards the end of my nomadic journey as far as without a fully self-contained RV or home base. Right now, there's no opportunity out there for me, really, so I'm not. I had to take this off. I'm hot. There's no opportunity out there for me, so I'm not upgrading. But I'm telling you something right now. If I see the right opportunity, I don't know, man. I'm going to do something. Sarah! Oh, my God. That's my beautiful Sarah going to give me a sponge bath with a bikini on. Sarah's a nurse. She's from California. She lives in her van. Sarah, you know that I masturbate to you. I was masturbating to you last night. I forgot which girl I watched, but she reminded me of you. I think about Sarah often. She's pretty. Guys, look, I enjoy to fantasize. I do. And no disrespect, because I respect Sarah. And I would never, I don't know. Would I ever date someone again? Probably not. I just don't want the aggravation. And neither does Sarah. But I do like to fantasize. Guys, I got to have some enjoyment in life. And Sarah, I was thinking about you the other night. I think about you often. I love you, Sarah. I hope you're doing good. Shout out to all my nurses out there. Maria. Yes, it's sad for the... See, sometimes, too, like, if someone asks me about Trump, you guys know I'm a progressive guy. Now, I know Sarah's conservative, but sometimes, like, I fantasize about having sex with a real conservative girl, because there's a lot of conservative girls out there that are hot, man. So, like, I don't care that Sarah voted for Trump, but we still have probably, have fun. Let's continue to read before I lose all my audience, but I don't give a shit. Maria, yes, it's sad for the loss of life from COVID-19. It is, guys. I mean, obviously, look, there's someone's parents and someone's friends. Pluto, I was shocked when I checked it out. Well, it's always good to see money in your bank account. I ain't mad at that. I'm sorry. Every time I see a super chat, I'm like, it's like a stimulus check. When I'm glad I needed that money bad. Oh, God bless you, man. Thank God. I agree. And honestly, during my lifetime under Trump administration as a citizen, I'm able to get money plus the government. Guys, all the money they give to the corporations, the least they can do is give you a one-time $1,200 check. And there's going to be more money coming, because I don't think in the future we're going to be open 100%. So I think there'll be more checks coming. Alexander, at Ben, 40% to some, 30% hang on every word. Yeah, look, I mean, again, like Sarah, I know Sarah voted for Trump. I love her. I respect her. I have known some people, look, some people I hate that I know voted for Trump. But some people that I do respect, I've either worked with or I know. Now, I'm a loner and I'm a progressive person. Always have been, always will be. But I don't want to say that every single person that voted for Trump I hate, even though I do say that sometimes. So I don't want to lie to you either. But like, I respect Sarah. I don't want her to feel hurt. I respect like other people that I've worked with that I know that voted for Trump. You know, so I don't want to like hurt. But also, I got to be me, guys. You know, it's like, it's a balance. You know, it's like, I don't want to tap dance around it. And then 10 years later, like some political issue comes up and I say like how I feel, you say how you feel, and then we both hate each other. Like, I just want you to know up front, I'm progressive, man. I'm a fighter. You know, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like Trump used to tell like Mitt Romney, like, you should have fought hard. I fight. So like, I'm not going to like let Trump just do whatever and not speak up. However, I would still have sex with some of Trump's supporters. That's true. Mr. Smith, 75 watching. I appreciate that. And only 15 likes, what? Let's get that like count up, man. And I appreciate the super chat. Jake, 56 watching in France. That's a blessing. I'm international, man. I'm YouTube famous. Mr. Smith, on exploring alternatives, they had a pregnant couple on the show. I don't think this nomadic lifestyle is good for newborns. I agree. I mean, unless you have a fully self-contained RV and you have somewhere to park. I mean, but again, there's exceptions. There's a general rule and there's exceptions. All right. So if someone wants to have a kid or to be elderly or to whatever, and they want to live in an RV or van, guys, as long as you're not hurting anyone, do whatever you want. Obviously, again, just like politics, I got to speak my mind, but you should do whatever you want. Good comment. North, hey, Sam, what's up? Hope all is well. I appreciate that. North, did you create a pandemic to get out of the trade deal? Did they? They may have, guys. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know, man. It's possible. That's a good question. You talking about China? North Strong says, but America's done a lot of dirt too. So it's like, you know, if we're going to hold China accountable, guys, technically we would have to hand over George Bush to Iraq and let him be hung to death. Because technically, under world war laws, George Bush is guilty of war crimes. We went to war with Iraq and we never found weapons of mass destruction. Therefore, technically, if we were to hold China accountable for the virus, if they did create it, there's no evidence right now, we would have to give George Bush over to the Iraqi people if we're going to be fair Christian America. If we're not, if we're going to be, I'll kill the Native Americans America, which we started on, then, guys, anything to stay on top. Nordstrom. Astallion said, a single death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic. That's an interesting comment. Yeah, that's a thought-provoking comment, man. That's way to go. Brandon, thank you, brother, again. Waiting on my stimulus. My God, stimulus. It was good to see Sarah. Vanessa, $9.99 super chat. Stay strong. Keep your head up, Tupac. And be true to yourself. That's a 100 emoji. Damn it, Vanessa. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. And thank you for all your comments on my video and adding your perspective. Love to you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. Thank you. Keep your head up, guys. Thank you, Vanessa. My stimulus is coming. Brandon, thank you again, brother. Yeah, man, it'd be amazing. I know I read that already, but it'd be amazing. You know, look, I remember starting a channel with no one watching. I would be the only person watching my videos. And there was a couple times I almost gave up on YouTube. It's like anything else, man. Keep showing up, get a little bit lucky, put in the work, and see where the chips land. Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, Brandon. Denise, hello to you. Loyalty means everything. Hey, Sam, just make sure you don't make the wrong choice due to COVID. No, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a great point. Loyalty means everything. Look, in an emotional time such as a pandemic where we're all strained and stressed mentally, you make a great point, which I have been thinking about. I don't want to make an emotional decision now. I would like to get through this point before I decide to do something. That way I could like reevaluate once society is a little bit open again in the future. So that's a point well noted. Like, don't go buying a house or don't go getting married. Don't go doing something real wild right now. Kind of wait a little bit to see how everything pans out. That's a good point. Karen says she's quietly living her life. I love you too. Stay warm. Shout out to all my Floridians. Yeah, like when you live in Florida, you never tell your neighbor, like, stay warm. When you live in New Jersey, even in the spring, you say stay warm. My mom tells me every day. Thank you, Karen. I love you. From Florida. Hey, man, what's up? Al Noise, you really lived your life. I appreciate that, brother. Same to you. I'm glad you're healthy, man. Al Illinois had surgery over the winter, man, and I'm glad to see him in here live and healthy and strong, man. God bless you. Uncle Arthur, prayer emoji. Thank you, brother. Infinity 1999. Good point, Sam. Thank you, brother, for your encouragement and also for your tip. Thank you again, Vanessa and everyone, Pluto. Gerald, everyone. Mr. Smith. William, awesome info, bro. Thanks. I feel a little bit better now. Great. Thank you, William. I appreciate that, man. Bland, what's up, brother? It's feeling nice in South Carolina. Good weather down there today. And yeah, this is a good time of year to be in South Carolina as far as the weather. I don't like the culture, but I love you. 65 degrees. Great weather, man. Love to you and everyone down there, man. I love you, Bland. Milano, Sammy, Trump like to reopen in May. Yeah, you got to hire some more foreign workers in Mar-a-Lago on a visa program. Milano, I love you, brother. Shout to you and Emilio. Right now, gas is $2.03 for regular in Jersey. But in New Jersey is the last state in America where they actually have gas attendants, meaning someone else has to pump your gas. It's a law. You cannot pump your own gas. But love to you, brother. I think we're going to start to open the country up a little bit in May. We're still going to be wearing face masks. I don't know if the gym or the airlines will be fully open, but we'll do something, I think. Milano, Sammy, Trump has to reopen. New rules. We may happen. Thank God everyone got their stimulus check today. Milano, you're on Social Security. Did you get a stimulus check too? Lisa says Cuomo is corrupt as they get. Well, I disagree. Can you give me some facts? Like, we could factually say, like, the people that Trump was associated with, his lawyer, they were found guilty of corrupt acts. We could factually say that Trump created bankruptcy. That we can factually say that Trump was sued by people of his university for falsely promoting his school system. We could factually say that Trump had married 2 immigrants, okay? We could factually say that Trump hires foreign workers. We could factually say all those things about Trump. What can we factually say about Cuomo? Milano, some business will reopen under new rules. That's true. Mrs. Smith, thank you, brother, for being a positive, consistent supporter. And I was blessed to see Valerie comment on your thing today, man. Thomas, Trump or Biden, what the F would you choose? I'll choose policy. I'll choose Biden. Biden wants to lower Medicare health insurance for the seniors at age 60. He helped Obama with getting pre-existing conditions passed. I'll go for policy, not pandering, okay? So I'll choose Biden. I don't care if he sleeps all the way through. Guys, we're in a national pandemic. We got 16 million people laid off. Unemployment will go up to 13 to 30%. The stock market tanked. The Federal Reserve went into $2 trillion to pump it up. We're in a national lockdown. How worse can it get? Guys, pretty much the only worse it can get is everyone dead, okay? Right now, you got a third of Americans out of work, waiting on their stimulus check. They just got a one-time check. If you're laid off, you got no health care, okay? Guys, it can't get any worse than this. So go for Biden. Infinity 1999, God bless you also. Thank you. And that's why I think Trump will reopen too. Look, Trump's a politician. So believe me, he looks at the stock market all the time, and he also talks about it. So he knows that his reelection, and he's a prideful man. We know that his reelection is tied into the stock market. So you damn right he's going to try to open it quick, man. Money over compassion any day, man. Bland, I predict will be partially reopened May 15th. That's probably pretty close. Bland, there's a total guess, though. No science behind it. Well, there is some science behind it. You have to have data of testing of death rates, of infection rates, but you have to balance it with a level of intuition, but not too much intuition. I mean, like, you can't just go off your gut, but you can't, science is not exact. You got to go off a little bit of both. Alexander from Florida. William, Mr. Smith, do you have an online account? They are giving good members upfront payments. Credit unions, regular banks are not doing that. NVRV, shout out to Alaska. Great to see you. I just checked my account. No check for me. Well, Alaska's a little slow up there. Laughing. I don't plan to spend it. It's going to go straight in my savings. NVRV is a smart woman. She lives full-time in her NV200 Nissan van in Alaska. She has a YouTube channel. Click on her channel. Subscribe. It's for free. Show her some support. And she doesn't make that many videos because she likes her privacy, which I always tell you guys, like, you can't grow your YouTube channel and not want to be on TV. However, NVRV doing it the right way because she knows for her mental health and for her personal decisions, she doesn't want to give up her privacy. And I think she's doing the right thing for her. So I love you, I respect you, and you're very smart with your money. She goes, yeah, guys, you can never have enough emergency savings. That's true. These are scary times. I agree. Love to, Envy. I read your comment too that your company, at least they didn't lay you off. They want you to work remotely, but I know you don't want to work remotely because you're able to use the shower at your or the bathing in your workplace. But you'll figure it out. Now, don't forget too, guys. Alaska has a dividend that's given to the people from the oil companies, petroleum dividend. Vanessa, she goes, I'm a conservative gal too. I'm not mad at you. I appreciate that. Never let politics and personal opinions interfere with my friendships. I agree with a lot of your complaints. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not mad at someone too that says, Sam, I hate you because I totally disagree with you. And I understand that too. So I don't want, I just try to be myself because I don't want to mask it. And then eventually I'm going to say how I really feel and then we hate each other. I love everyone, but I gotta say what I feel. You know what I mean? So, but I could see myself dating a conservative girl, but never voting for a conservative president. It's weird. I guess opposites attract. Thank you, Vanessa. Alexander. Best wishes, Sam. I've noticed in conversation with people that you can often tell where they get their news from their comments they're make by the virus. Well, it's a mindset. And not to say that I'm always right, but there are some people that just have a gift to kind of have a feel for people and their mindset and what they've been through in life. I remember being at a strip club one day and I'm telling a girl I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I can understand a person's mindset. So I could talk to a person, I could see where they're coming from. I've also experienced a lot of different things in life. So, and a little bit, I just have a gift of understanding people, even if I totally disagree with them. So it's just my lane. However, look, no matter what, you're always going to offend certain people or put certain people off. So one of the reasons I also deactivated my Facebook and my Instagram is because when I have to vent, I don't want people to see that in their live feed. For me, I like YouTube because you have to purposely come on my channel and watch my videos. And you're not flooded with my mindset if you don't want to hear it. You really have to go out of your way. When you have a Facebook account, it just comes up in your news feed. Or if you have an Instagram, it just comes up. But YouTube, you have to click on something and decide to watch. And then if you don't like it, you click right off. And you'll never have to see that person again. A Facebook or Instagram, you can't unfollow someone without them feeling a certain way. So if I see you supporting a certain issue I totally disagree with, I probably won't blast you, but I'm going to unfriend you. And then I had a couple people, we were cool. And they started either one, commenting on my political philosophy, trying to change my views, or I was getting pissed at their views. I unsubscribe or I block them because I don't want to hear that shit. And I don't want you to have to hear my shit. I want to be me. You be you, I be me. Let's both be happy. Because I told you guys, look, no matter who's the president or who's running the world, I'm still going to do what I need to do as far as be productive, positive in society. But I do think we can do better at times in society. So I also have to speak up. I'm not going to be silent. You know what I mean? I vote. You know what I mean? To me, the biggest problem with Colin Kaepernick, the NFL player, which he's the real reason that Trump got elected. It wasn't the Russians. Many people got very offended at that, even though it was his First Amendment right to take a knee at the national anthem. People got, just like they got offended with Roseanne Barr when she spit during the national anthem. People get offended. But he didn't vote. Colin Kaepernick didn't vote. So to me, just like Kanye West, he loves Trump. He gave him a hug, said, you're my long lost father. He didn't vote. For me, those people, they're told disgrace to society. You can't say you want a better society and then not vote, not get involved. So, it's more than just speaking up. You also have to take action. And, you know what I mean? Voting is a big action. Guys, we live in the greatest democracy in the world, the United States of America. Every election, whether it's Bush, Obama, or Clinton, percentage-wise, how many Americans vote every election? Put it in the live feed. I'll tell you. On average, only half the U.S. population vote. Most of the people, it doesn't matter what president's there, most people do not vote. Only 50% of people vote. Where do I disagree with Trump? Last week in a press conference, he said, mail-in voting is a fraud. What did he do last month? He did mail-in voting to Florida. So, he's a little bit of a hypocrite too. So all I could tell you guys is vote. You say, Sam, I don't like Biden. I don't like Trump. Who do I vote for? Whose policies do you agree with more? For me, I am a progressive. I agree more with universal health care. I agree that I want Medicare at the age of 60. Okay. So I'm going to vote for that. I have no problem with corporations that we get bailed out. They have to pay 10% extra tax on their revenue. I got no problem with that. So for me, that's what I vote on. That's why I voted for Hillary Clinton. I thought Trump was more charming, but I thought Hillary Clinton's policies aligned more with my thing. So, you know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Let's continue. Alexander, best wishes, Sam. Oh, I read that. I'm sorry. Vanessa, thank you again for your tip. I hope Trump would bring Apple business back and America. I voted because he said no more nation building. I'm anti-war. He made a lot of good promises. He did. And I can understand that, but yeah, the real jobs weren't brought back. I remember, one is, let's say that Steve Jobs was a disgrace. He created the iPhone, but he also outsourced all his jobs to China. And Obama asked him, like, what can we do to bring those jobs back? And Steve Jobs told Obama, you're never going to get those jobs back. And same thing with Tim Cook. Like, guys, all we have to do, forget about like being tough on China. All we have to do to Apple is say, look, you want to build iPhones in Apple? And you want to build iPhones in China? Fine. You can build iPhones in China, but you can only sell those iPhones in China. If you're going to sell iPhones in America, they have to be made in America. You can still build them in China, but the ones you build in China have to be sold to the Chinese. And the ones American buy have to be made in America. And you have to have union workers with pensions and annuities. Guys, that's how you build the middle class. There's no other way around it. You can't pump up the stock market and build up the middle class. You know what I mean? The only way to build up the middle class is to regulate that companies have to manufacture here, and the manufacturers have to pay a certain wage with certain benefits. That's the only way you bring back the middle class. And you supplement that with universal health care and basic universal income. Okay? Period. Without that, you're never going to bring back the middle class. Statistically, they keep going down. Bland, good comment, Vanessa. And thank you for your tip, your graciousness. And thank you for still believing with me. I can't believe that some people still watch me because I know they disagree with a lot I say. Bland, I hope suicides don't start from social isolation. I mean, that's a fair point, and that's where I do agree with Trump. Look, some people mentally cannot handle this. For me, I would have no problem staying like this forever, but I need the gym, and I do think it's a healthier society. You got to reopen it at some point. But I think we're going to be wearing surgical masks or face coverings for a long time. And I think we have to wait till we get a vaccine or testing that shows if we have the antibodies. Read a couple articles where it's starting to take place. Yeah, I mean, I don't think suicides would go up that dramatically, but I do think mental health would take a big hit. I already see domestic disputes. Doesn't have to be huge, but domestic arguments starting. And it's, look, guys, it's tough on me. It's tough on all of us. So I see the benefit of reopening some things. It's very dangerous, though. You just got to be careful. Vanessa, stay strong and keep your head up. Be true to you. Thank you, Vanessa, for understanding me and loving me anyway. You know, back to you, Blanton, too, about mental health. For me, if you say, Sam, if we really care about mental health, what would I do? Well, number one is before the coronavirus, every American citizen, okay, would have basic healthcare services guaranteed right as a citizen. If we're going to print money or go into debt, the first thing it should be is for the people, not for the corporations. So if you ever needed mental health, you should be able to go to a therapist or whatever, and you should be able to get it. Okay. Number two is you should have a basic level of income. You still are going to get rewarded if you work harder, and you're still going to go further in life if you innovate, and again, you work harder. But you're going to feel, we're going to have a shared stock market where if the stock market goes up, you get a dividend. Or people who want to participate in the stock market, any corporation that wants to issue stocks to get public money, they have to pay a certain percentage on their revenue, and that dividend goes directly to the people. Doesn't even go through the government. It goes directly to the people. regulated by the government. You are now part of a country. The only way you feel part of a country and healthy, and even if you have mental problems, the only dignity you have is if you know you don't have to like go begging, standing at a social service program, begging for basic health care and food stamps. You have a guaranteed right as a citizen, okay, that you have a basic level of humanity. You have dignity, okay? Why? Because I think we should care for each other to a basic level. Everyone should still have the ability to fail or to succeed at a higher level, but you have human dignity. Is basic healthcare a human right? For me, if healthcare isn't a human right, I don't know where we start. Okay? Basic healthcare. You slip and you break your leg, you're taken care of without a bill. That's a human right, man. And if we're going to print money as a country, I don't know why you'd go in debt for anything other than that first. And number two is, okay, in the wealthiest country in the world, you have a basic level of income. So if you work at Walmart, which is $1 billion corporation that pays their average employee $12 an hour with no health care, you're getting $1,000 a month from the government who prints money, and you're getting your $12 an hour from Walmart. You can make ends meet, and you're working. You're not being lazy. What about inflation? What do they ask about inflation when the Federal Reserve buys junk bonds? When they lower interest rates, they don't. Guys, the people, the basic services for the people, if they aren't prioritized, even if society opens up, in my opinion, you're never going to have a mentally, physically, or real patriotic country. Because if patriotism means waving a flag and joining the army, we've lost the meaning. Because Donald Trump dodged the army in Vietnam. We went to a false war in Iraq because we thought patriotism was going and killing other people in the name of a flag. Patriotism, first and foremost, is demanding equality and human dignity to its people within its care, its country. Then you build from that. Without that, you don't have a country. What you have is a stock market with a golden bull, the same thing as the golden calf in biblical times. You have elites that have to use political talking points, emotional things to fire people up, and you have a lowering of the middle class, and you have the haves and have-nots, and no pathway up to a decent, dignified life. You have to live with an ungrateful family member because you don't have enough resources to live on a small, simple level by yourself. You shouldn't be you know what the average senior, my mom worked. My parents got divorced. My mom worked 2-3 jobs at times at a supermarket, teaching, substituting, like serving lunch at a school. Her Social Security, I think, is like $1,100 a month. You can't even pay rent for that. Okay. We would have been in poverty unless my mother's father left her a small inheritance. So, to me, okay, what I tell you is, I thank God, in my opinion, Super Shovel, the media has been more honest than Trump. Trump said the virus, he said it out of his mouth, he said the virus will go away in April. He said in January that we have it under control. He said 2 weeks ago the country would reopen on Easter. Tomorrow's Easter. So Trump saying fake news kills democracy. We don't trust the data in China because they don't have a free press. Every time Trump says fake news, he is a disrespectful person to this country. Trump has been more dishonest than the news, in my opinion. Fact. If not, then we'd be opening up the country tomorrow, because that's what he said 2 weeks ago. And then when he was questioned on it 2 days ago, he goes, well, I was just being aspirational. That means he lied. Okay. So I don't trust Trump. I think he's worse than the fake news. I think I understand why he started to say fake news, because I think the news is controlled through corporations, and I think they have biased opinions, but so is Fox News. Okay. So you know what I mean? Every news isn't fake. Okay. With no news, you have China. Okay. Thank God for our free press. Thank God for every reporter at those press conferences pushing Trump. Because without that, you wouldn't even probably know about the virus. Because if Trump didn't have to tell you, you'd probably be out there working right now, getting sick. So that's where he also went too far. He goes too far by saying everything is fake. It's not fake. It's fact. You know what I mean? So sometimes they take him out of context, with the hoax thing and all that. But sometimes he is lying or being aspirational, not 100% truthful, to emotionally manipulate the people to give them a psyche. Trump said he's a cheerleader for America. He's not. He wasn't cheerleading for America when Obama tripled the stock market. But when he tripled the stock market, it's not tripled anymore. When he did, it was all it's all his doing. It had nothing to do with Obama, nothing to do with his policies, nothing to do. So that's why I disagree with them based on those facts. Good job. All right, let's continue. William Bland, I want to quit my government now. Been treated too bad for so long. Yes, I'm thinking about suicide, 60-year-old and tired. Thank you for sharing, William. What I learned, I had a couple people at different times in my life call me and say, Sam, look, I'm thinking about committing suicide. I mean, obviously, look, I don't try to pander to people or lie. Everyone has their own inner demons. All I could try to tell anyone is, one is I'm not you, so I'm not going to try to say that I know what's inside your head. Two is I understand how life can suck, so I don't try to tell you should feel bad for hating life. But three is what I try to do is I just try to stay thankful for whatever I can be and just try to get through the day. And I remember I had a great friend of mine. She called me a couple times about like threatening to commit suicide. I said, look, I love you. You know I love you. I said, but if you're going to do it, you got to do it. There's nothing I can do. So like one of my viewers asked me earlier in the live chat, like, Sam, how do you treat, if you're caretaking for your mother and she's being difficult or she's enabling a drug addict sibling, how do you deal with them? You have to have boundaries. You have to listen to them, but not try to fix them. And you have to have boundaries. Everyone's on their own journey. I don't judge people who do commit suicide. I don't recommend it, but I don't judge. Guys, look, we're all trying to live our best life. All I could tell you guys, is love, listen, boundaries. Love, listen, boundaries. Because, I feel it's hurtful to a person to try to say, don't do this, or I understand. Look, it's, try your best to get through the day. Try to get into a positive support system. Like a season of my life, I got into a church. I didn't buy into all the religion. I eventually left that church, but it helped me get more positive people around me that were trying to get better. So whether it would be a church or a therapy group or just a bunch of friends that are trying to do better, anyone struggling in life, emotionally, physically, whatever way, mentally, the number one thing I say to do is you have to separate yourself from toxins, whether it's drugs, unhealthy friends, unhealthy environments. And you have to be around certain people that are supporting you to push forward. You may not agree with them and you may not stay with them forever. And then you have to just slowly build your foundation in your life and heal. Now, even after you do that, which I did, you're still going to have days where you hate life. I don't try to lie to you guys. But I try to tell you guys, try to find something to be thankful for. When you're don't allow too much idle time. Like, why do they say like suicide rates may go up in the future if we don't reopen the country? Because idle time is the devil's playground. So when people are home all day, if they don't have a good foundation, if they don't know how to structure their day and wake up and go for a walk and eat healthy, their mental health suffers. Like my mom's mental health is suffering. And so I understand it. But I could only speak from a real place without pandering to you. Because I feel that's disrespectful to your intelligence and to your pain. So I try to just like share like my thoughts, my soul. But thank you for sharing, William. Tom, man, love to you, brother. I appreciate you also. You've been a great supporter, man. What do you think of the second wave China said was worse than the first? I think that's the biggest threat because in the Spanish flu in America in 1918, where 50 million people died, 50 million, that's when the most people died and got infected during the second wave. The Spanish flu started in March, but it wasn't until September, the second wave, that killed more people. So whether the virus would mutate or whether we would reopen society and things would spike up too much, I don't think it would be as bad as the Spanish flu because I think we have a better, more modern healthcare system and infrastructure, but it could still be a complete disaster. So it's going to be a very thin balance, and that's why I do think that even if we reopen the country to a certain extent in a few weeks, there's going to be a lot of restrictions. I think that face masks are here to stay in public for at least 3 to 12 months. Now, look, girls who, like pretty girls, want to be seen. So they're going to have stylish face masks, but it's going to be interesting. Like, look, guys, everyone's going to be in Islamic garb, basically. But there's still some hot Islamic girls with Islamic garb. You can still tell from, like, their eyes, man. So, like, I remember even looking at porn like that. Like, so you can still holler at a girl. But, like, you're going to go to the prom and you're going to have a face mask on. You know what I mean? I think AOC is hot. I'd date her. I would date AOC. I think AOC hot. I would date her. I'd definitely date her before I date Trump. All right, let's continue. Mr. Smith. William, I bank with the Chase. Well, JP Morgan Chase is part of the problem with the Federal Reserve. I believe if you look at the history, JP Morgan Chase, they played a pivotal role in the beginning of the Federal Reserve, and they still have a major imprint. You got to look up all that. It's too long to go into now. Blam. Sorry, what I meant by May 15th prediction is that it'll happen then, but I don't have a whole lot of objective evidence to back that claim up. No, I appreciate your perspective, man. I do have evidence that y'all need to like this video. Damn it. Guys, click that thumbs up, man. And thank you again for everyone on a generous super chat. William, thank you, Mr. Smith. Milano, he's down in Miami living full-time in his Class B RV. He says, Sammy, $1,200 I think is for Social Security people also. Yes. From what I read online, you get $1,200 if you make less than $75,000 a year, if you're on Social Security, or if you're on SSI. However, if you're on Social Security and SSI, and if you're claimed as a dependent, if someone else claims you as a dependent, I don't think you get it. So, but right now, if you're on Social Security and you're making under $75,000, you could get $1,200 tomorrow. So, check Milano, check your bank account right now. Because some of the viewers in here, like Pluto and them, they said, and Smith, they checked their bank account. If you got direct deposit, it should be in your bank account now. If not, by tomorrow. And if you make under $99,000, you get $1,000. $19.99. Stay strong, William. Amen. You will get through this one day at a time, man. That's all any of us can do, man. God bless you. Blaine, we will be seeing a conservative girl in the backseat of the live stream. Why, you ain't going to go that far. Because I like to be alone. But I'm not mad at all my conservative chicks because I'm feeling them a little bit. BVT, he's conservative. I thought you left me for good and I wouldn't have been mad at you because he's from South Carolina and he loves Trump. I love you, BVT. Peace, Sam. Praying for you and all of you as you're a good man. I thought you left for good. I wouldn't blame you. Staying at home. Tom, 4 weeks. Now avoiding the virus. I pray. Good to see you. Well, BVT is a blessing to see you, man. I can't believe, man. There's some people that do love me. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. God bless you, man. You and your family, BVT. William, thanks, Infinity. Forgive me for saying the name wrong. Ball and Thug. Boom, you said it. Convicted felon here. All right. I can vote, but I will never complain about who gets elected because I lost my right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know all the facts, but I thought that some things got overturned that if you are a felon, you could still vote. But I don't know all the facts behind that, so I won't try to misspeak, but thank you for sharing. The truth. I was a Lyft driver during the time they were sending Wuhan planes reaching America to military bases. At the airports, many flights were still coming in from China while this was going on. Yeah, because what Trump doesn't tell you in the press conference is he did put restrictions on China, but just like the trade deal, there was a lot of exceptions. Like, you could still come into America from China. You just had to have an exception, whether it was a business-related reason or whatever. Like, just like the trade deal, there's a lot of exceptions that you didn't hear about. Like, China had the deal in the trade. If a pandemic hit, they do not have to honor the trade deal. And a pandemic came. So it was the same thing when Trump banned the people from China coming over in the airplane. There was a lot of exceptions. If you were a diplomat, if you had business reasons to come over here. So, guys, the devil is always in the details. And that's what they don't tell you. They use the talking points. Mr. Smith, Sammy, you're a song. You make me want to roll my window down and cruise. Isn't that an Usher song? You make me want to. Yeah, I like that song. Bland. William, please do not do that. If I need, I'll give you my number and talk. Well, I appreciate that. We got to let everyone figure it out. But I appreciate you reaching out, Bland. That was positive. And I appreciate MVRV put the hotline in there. Thank you. Ball and Thug. Nah, just don't buy iPhone. Power in the consumer. If the businesses can cost, they will. You know, that's a fair point. The only thing I will say with the phone and working in the technology industry is that a phone, to me, even an expensive phone, is worth it. That's my opinion. And obviously, it depends what industry you work in. But a phone, you can create a resume, you can apply for a job, you can do a video conference, you could do YouTube, you could do DoorDash, you could do Uber, all through your phone. You can't do any of that if you don't have an updated phone. So my mom has an old school phone, like a flip phone, doesn't even have smartness in it. And I could barely, she can't read her text, she can't. And I'm like, Ma, you got to get an upgraded phone, you can get a cheap new one. And she don't want to hear me. So I will say that you do, in a technology era, we're no longer in an industrial era. We're in a technology era. I think in a technology era, you have to have somewhat of an upgraded phone. Now, you don't have to have the latest and greatest, to your point, and I definitely agree with your point, Ball and Thug, that you want to live below your means. But living below your means, that it means you have a higher income than you do expenses. So your budget is that you got more money than you do bills. And that you, in your surplus, you have savings. And you put that savings in a savings account, 12-month worth of expenses in a savings account. And then after that, you ball out. Vanessa, thank you again. I hope after all this, we deemed that they make medications and antibiotics here. I think that's an excellent point. What we learned, which I didn't even know before this, that 80% of our prescription drugs in America are made in China. That's a huge red flag. And that spans beyond Trump and beyond Obama. That's been going on for decades. So that has to change. I agree. Bring business back to this country. I agree. I don't think they will, though. To be honest with you, I don't think they will, but I totally agree with your point. Something has to be done about this. That's an excellent point. Infinity 1999. I was built for social isolation. Well, me too. I do like some social. I do miss my baristas at Starbucks. And, I like to be around people, but in my own, like in the cut. So, that's what it is. Ball Thug, $2 super chat. Top 3 electric items needed for moving into car. Top 3 electric. Well, number 1 is, I would say, a phone. Because I use my phone for directions to the nearest Walmart, nearest rest stop, nearest campground. And I do everything I did DoorDash from my phone, etc. So that's number 1. Number 2, good question. Number 2, which I've showed you guys before, I did a video. This is where I get my power from. This is a Goal Zero Yeti inverter pack. The cheapest model, $150. I think it was like $200 on Amazon. The Goal Zero Yeti, $150. Right now, I'm charging my cell phone. I'm charging my Bluetooth earbuds. So now you can charge this pack gives power to your electronics. So you could charge this in a regular outlet. So usually I would have to go in Starbucks to do it or a campground. It's very hard to charge this now. I got to find like some public outlets. Or there's a solar input. You could charge this with a solar panel, but it takes like 8 hours. So number 1 is your phone. Number 2 is your inverter pack. I have the Yeti Goal Zero 150. And number 3, I also did a video about it, is your earbuds. Because at night, you want to like watch your phone when I'm crawled up in my back seat and I'm sleeping. I watch movies on YouTube or like, you know what I mean? And you don't want that like playing out loud so people can hear you. So, or if you're watching porn, you don't want that playing loud. So those are your top 3 electrical items that you need living on the road or in your car. Number 1, a phone. Number 2, an inverter pack to charge your electronics. And number 3 are earbuds so that you can listen to your phone in private, especially at night when you're in your car and if you're stealth parking. Great question. And that reminded me too, I had to turn off my inverter from overcharging my stuff. Thank you, brother, for that tip. Thank you for everyone who's been generous on the tips, man. I appreciate that very much. I don't take it for granted. Great info. Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'm just putting my earbuds back in my thing. I tell you, the one thing I like about living in my car, I used to get very frustrated when I would lose something, or I felt I left something back in my house. Like for me now, there ain't really much. I got like no space, so I really can't lose anything. Everything's so close. Keeping up with Bree. 199. So hey Bree. Bree, how you doing? Are you skydiving? What you doing? Good to see you, Bree. Beautiful you with a guy dancing. Way to spread some love. I appreciate that, Bree. Shout out to you. I checked out your video. I checked out your channel last night to see if you were uploading any new videos. I didn't see any, but I understand YouTube could be exhausting. But I'm still subscribed to your channel. Click on her channel, subscribe. It's for free. Show her some love. She is a YouTuber too. Love to you, Bree, and thank you for that tip. Where are we at? Thank you, Bree. We were at Blanton. 100% agree about healthcare. Point and money for the people. Yeah, guys, look, and people gotta get taken care of, the regular people. And free, cheaper therapy. I totally agree. Basic stuff. Basic human rights. Blanton. William, you have people in your life that love you. Now, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I ain't gonna lie to you. I try not to lie to you guys. Look, you're gonna born alone, die alone, like my man Nas said, and I agree with it. I do agree that you're gonna meet some people along your journey that support you, that want the best for you. I wouldn't be here without having those people in my life. But what I can tell you, a couple times in my life, being close to death and watching a couple people I know die, is that you die alone. And sometimes in your life, to break an addiction or to get out of a bad environment, you're going to have to venture out on your own. And I'd say the same thing too, because I keep it real with you guys. If you're struggling mentally, you're going to have to get in a support group, but you're also going to have to build your own foundation so that you get out of an unhealthy relationship and that you have enough self-confidence that even when you do feel bad about life and you're having a bad day mentally, that you know how to talk yourself off the ledge. Because now, again, there's exceptions. There's some people that can't be as independent as others. I'm not going to lie to you guys either, because I've met some people with really bad problems. But as best you can, and only you know you, I don't try to claim to know people, as best you can, you have to learn to develop your foundation and your confidence, because you have to learn to talk yourself off the ledge, because your therapist is not always going to be there, a supporting person. A lot of times guys, I send you out as sheep amongst the wolves. A lot of times, most of the time in life, you're amongst the wolves. So you can't be a wolf yourself, devouring yourself. And that's what it is like when you got thoughts of rage and hate. Even if it's like you're nice to everyone else and you hate yourself. Like, you know what I mean? It's not easy, but you got to get to a point like where you're not like devouring yourself. And that's when you got to step back and be thankful and go for a walk and do some type of physical activity and be productive so you feel like you got some self-worth. You know what I mean? Like, I knew people that would go into a rehab or go into a jail and they would do better in the jail or the rehab. Why? Those are horrible places to be. Because the jail or the rehab structured their life. Like, you have to wake up on this time, you eat at this time, you work out. So a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people that were in those circumstances before rehab or jail, or after they get out of rehab and jail, they regress, they go backwards, and they go back into bad habits because they have no one structuring their day. So if you don't know how to structure your day, someone else will do it for you, whether it's through mandatory therapy or mandatory jail time. So the most important thing you can do in your life, one of the most, is structuring your day. Waking up early, doing something productive, which will probably include some type of job, working out, eating healthy, and then at the end of the day, you're tired and you go to sleep. You don't have time for bullshit. It's like when you got idle time on your hands to think about negative thoughts or to hang around negative people, negative shit's going to happen. And that's when you get caught in a vicious cycle of repeating bad cycles. And guys, I always tell you, it's a full-time job, even if you don't have a job, to self-care. And self-care means you gotta push yourself to get up and to be productive. So that's what I was sure. Vanessa. you're in a similar situation to mine. And when I went on YouTube for Car Dwellers, you came up. Oh, okay. Thank you for. I'm always interested in how people find me. Let me know in the comments like how you found my channel. Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. She goes, you truly have been inspirational. No, man. Thank you. You interact with your fans and stay positive. Well, I appreciate that because I know how it feels to be on the other end. I feel bad when I have to block people or talk wild, but I kind of know when we ain't gonna vibe. But I appreciate that, Vanessa. Super Shovel. Yeah, I commented on this. Like I say, I understand that sometimes the media takes it too far, but so does Trump. So all of the media isn't bad. So, it's a balance, though. It's a balance in between. Xander, I served and have always felt a strong sense of patriotism. For the first time in my life, I don't feel this current government is deserving my patriotism. Make me sad. Well, in my mind, I always felt like Rambo. Rambo was a fake movie, but it was about like a guy, Sylvester Stallone. Like he served, but he also became a loner because he realized like if you go deep enough, like powers to be are making unjust decisions a lot of times. And I got a lot of friends I know that the military really helped them. And I know a stripper that the military helped her. And I knew a guy living a street life that he got in the military helped him. If you got nothing else going on in life, military ain't a bad gig. You get a retirement fund, you get health care, it's not bad. But like I say, that's one level of patriotism, okay? As far as like, and most people I know, to be honest with you, most people I know that went into the army, they did it because they had nothing else going on and it was a way out. And it was a way to get structure in their day and get benefits for it. Most people that got drafted, including Trump, they dodged the draft because it was a death sentence. I had an uncle that died in Nam because he couldn't dodge it. He was, poor. So the best thing we can do to unite the country is to tie everyone into common things. Basic civil rights of basic health care, basic income, tied to the stock market. Every U.S. citizen gets a dividend off a percentage of the revenues of the companies that use our free markets to access capital. They access that money and they access the free markets only to get bailed out when they take on too much risk and debt, and the American taxpayer has to bail them out, which we just did again. It happened in 1930. The American taxpayer bailed out capitalism. It happened in 2007 during the financial crisis, and it just happened. The American taxpayer is still paying off debt from 2007 for the free market. So until we, the people, are getting the dividends from the markets should not exist. That's fact, in my opinion. Nick, channel is growing. Hope all is well. Well, I appreciate that, Nick. I appreciate your support and all those who support me. What I tell you is I'm thankful for it. And part of the channel is based on showing up, interacting, and a level of luck. So that's life. Life, you got to show up. You got to put in the work. You got to have good relations. Now, again, my channel would be bigger if I didn't block people. However, I wouldn't be myself. And long term, I think my channel would suffer. So there's a balance there. I don't just treat my channel like business. It's a side hustle. I always keep it real with you guys. But if it was just business, I would not talk about certain issues that get me demonetized and make me lose viewers. So I'm able to do that because I'm willing to work other ways. When you're willing to work and when you're willing to live below your means, you have more liberty to be yourself in a creative venture. This is a creative venture, right? So the reason they say like the quote starving artist is because when you try to do something, if you try to make a living off an art form, whether it's the spoken word, drawing a painting, whatever, musician, there's not that much money in a capitalist system for it. So YouTube is an avenue, but it's still only a small percentage of people ever monetize it. And it's not enough to really employ most people for a long term. It's a side hustle. So I'm saying all that to say, for those looking to go a similar path, the only way you can keep your creative integrity is if you do it as an income that you do not depend on 100%. Because if you do it on an income you depend on 100%, You're not going to be yourself. And in my opinion, your channel it won't grow, because eventually in life, you only grow when you're able to be yourself at a certain level. Again, in business, you have to play a certain level of a game. I can't lie to you guys. I mean, it's part of life, right? So it's like a balance, man. It's a balance of all those things. But I try to share with you guys if you're looking to go down a similar route. Thank you, man. Let's contribute. C. Talaz. Hey, Sam, what's up? The next step is always the hardest to figure out. That's true. Love and respect to your advice. Thank you. Makes me think of the quote, faith is taking the next step without seeing the entire staircase. Martin Luther King Jr. said that quote. Good quote. Sonia. Sam. I feel like FDR more than Trump. You feel like I'm like more like FDR? I'm not too much up with his policies, but your car side chats will get us through this coronavirus. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, look, yeah, guys, my views definitely gone up with the coronavirus because more people watching YouTube. That's true. I'm thankful for it. Oh, shit. Rock Teacher Uncertified, $10 super chat. Damn it, man, we're on fire tonight. Thank you, brother, for that show of appreciation, Rookie Teacher. Love to you. And what I could tell you is thank you. And get certifications. If you're uncertified, do your best to get a certification because that will help you unlock another level in your career. So like if you're an apprentice electrician, which I was, get your journeyman certification. Then get your electrical license certification. And then go from there. Don't pay too much for degrees, especially in today's society where degrees are overpriced and it's big business. But get some certifications so that you can advance your career and eventually become more independent in the ways you like. Because I think one of the hugest life goals that we have is to do something we love, be able to get compensated for it, and be ourselves. Not easy to do, and it probably going to be a side hustle. But thank you, Rookie Teacher. Love to you. And I know one day I'm going to see that Rookie Teacher certified with a little like a Twitter certification check next to you. Thank you, brother. NVRV gave the National Suicide Hotline. Thank you, MV. Tellus, stay flexible. Great comment. I remember Bruce Lee had that comment, like, which tree survives a storm? I think he said like the bamboo tree. The tree that withers the most with the wind survives because it's the most flexible. Bruce Lee. He goes, stay flexible, minimum, below your means. There you go. So you can enjoy your best life. This is very key. In an environment you love. Tell us. That is a huge statement, especially at the end. I mean, guys, I'm thankful for New Jersey. New Jersey isn't all bad, and it helped me when I was younger, being in an environment where there are opportunities. But what I learned in traveling up and down the East Coast is, for me, Florida, South Florida, is the environment I love. And I think you guys can tell from my videos, right? I mean, I always try to push forward no matter what. But I think you can tell if you watch my videos that when I'm in Florida, I'm my happiest. Not because everyone should live in Florida, right? But because, like, that's the environment that works for me, right? So you really have to go and find the environment that works for you because it really does matter. And to all your other points, like living below your means and all that, that matters too, man. Thank you, brother. Good comment. RB. William, I missed your comment, but please hang on. I appreciate this, RB. My dude. It will get better. Love to you. But it just takes time. Yeah. It's weird, man. Like, some days I hate life. I mean, I to be honest with you, I mean, unless I was really, like, physically sick or I felt no way out, I would probably never commit suicide. But I could totally mentally see how people get there. And again, I can understand how even Job in the Bible, he wanted to kill himself. So, but like as the day passes, you do get better days. Now you get bad days again too. So, it's just life, you know what I mean? And I hate when people tell me like, oh, the bad times make the good times. It's a hard pill to swallow, man. But it's what it is. So the only thing I tell you, the same thing I tell myself, you just got to kick yourself in the ass and just try to do stuff. Stay productive. Don't let idle time kill you. Because it's just what life is. But, try to be thankful. But it's a good comment. And he goes, keep moving forward. That's key. Got to move forward. I don't want to see another brother gone from this world. I mean, I understand it. And I appreciate that comment, RB. Tom, I agree. Super Shovel. Do you think there will be a second round of stimulus package to the people? I do. Because even if Trump opens up the country partially or fully in May, I think you're going to have to do, and he's already talked about it, you're going to have to do at least one more phase, at least. So I think at minimum you're going to get another 1,200, and then they're going to evaluate. That's my opinion, but I do think you will, yes. Ball and Thug, negative 10K this week, 20K next week, and so on in that pattern, if anyone. Well, that's a lot of money back, man. I'm not mad at that. Chris, info's leaking out that this is way overblown. Empty hospitals, doctors, nurses speaking out. I don't know because I'm not in the hospital, so I don't want to lie to you. But I will say that, I mean, I've seen video of the mass graves. So I don't think everything is a conspiracy theory. However, I don't mock conspiracy theorists because some of it's true. But, you know, I don't think like people in Vietnam were faking it. I didn't see people die from Vietnam, right? But I know family members that did. So I don't think like Sandy school shooting was fake, even though I didn't see them fake. I don't think 9/11 was fake. Guys, I worked in Newark, New Jersey when 9/11 happened, and I saw the smoke coming out of the towers. So some people that weren't around then say, I think 9/11 was fake. So I do not personally think that it's fake or overblown. However, I don't know all the facts. I'm not in the hospital. I have known some caretakers who told me it's a disaster out there, but I'm not there. So that's my opinion. William, RB, thanks. I'm a vet and I will fight. There you go, brother. Good job, man. Ball and Thug, thank you again for that generous tip, man. And yeah, if you missed it, good question. My top 3 electronics for living in a car is a cell phone, an inverter charger, and earbuds to listen to your phone at night without Vanessa. William, my man, works for the VA primary care. See, that's the good part about being in the service. You got benefits for life. The VA means, it's basically people get out of the Army. It's their universal health care, basically. They have resources to help you, including dorms and transitional housing. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please reach out to them. Ball and Thug, thanks for the great info. Bree, great to see you again. I love those emoji guys. Make me smile. Thank you, Bree. Love to you. I'm still watching your channel. William, Vanessa, good advice. I live in Truck Santa Fe, New Mexico. Shout out to Mexico. Has a new VA. I will try it. That's awesome. That's good, man. Good job, William. Thank you, man. Vanessa, William, from what my mom tells me, that will help you if you're homeless. There's rules and curfew, I believe, but you should be able to help you. You should talk to someone for mental health. Vanessa, William, I learned a long time ago to never admit to having suicidal thoughts. Didn't want to be locked up, just needed someone to talk to help sort out thoughts. That's a good comment. Did you know that Roseanne Barr was in a mental institution for a month? Mike Tyson was in a mental institution. Did you know that Elon Musk, who founded Tesla and SpaceX, when he was young, he thought he was insane? So everyone from the top of society to entertainers to regular ex-military people have struggled with mental thoughts. Some more than others, and everyone has their own journey, but it's something to think about. Mr. Smith, $2 super chat. Sam, you should be an Ask Anything live stream. Guys, we're on fire tonight, man. Ask me anything. That's true. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Let's continue to read. Nathan. Hey, what's up, Nathan? Nathan, do you think the coronavirus stimulus check will be taxed or straight up? Yeah, that's also a great question. I don't think it will be taxed, but I could be wrong. Mr. Smith, you looked online. I think you said you got the stimulus check tonight. There's a couple viewers said they just got the check direct deposit tonight or it'll be in your account tomorrow. Mr. Smith, did they tax that $1,200 or did you get $1,200 net? I don't know. That's a good question. Blam. Found your channel while... I appreciate people telling me how they found their channel. Bland said he found my channel when he was watching other minimalism channels. Oh, okay. Been with you since 2018. Damn, I started my channel in July of 2017, so about 3 years ago. Thank you, Bland, for telling me that. I didn't know that. Mr. Smith says this about the stimulus check. Mr. Smith says, yes, I just got it. They didn't tax me. Good. I don't know why they would tax you. That's crazy. Good job. That's a good question and a good answer. Mr. Smith, anyone who got the stimulus check or who's going to get it it's not going to be taxed based on what Mr. Smith said. Cameron, you get that $1,200, man? Cameron, you get your $1,200 check? Guys, click that thumbs up. Tom, I was freezing my ass off in Oregon. You're a fighter, man. Hard worker, man. Shout out to all my people out. Guys, in my opinion, don't forget about our essential workers that are working on cars. Because if your car breaks down, man, that's essential. So don't forget about our car mechanics, man. He goes, I was freezing in Oregon. And we're freezing. I'm freezing in New Jersey. That's how you found my channel? That's an interesting one. Dan, that's interesting. Rookie teacher, thank you again, brother, for that super chat. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you, Rookie. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Alexander, I think you're on point with your thoughts about the markets and public dividends. Thank you, Alexander. William, Vanessa, I work for the DOT of New Mexico. They don't pay me enough for rent. Thank you for the advice. We'll see the VA. Good start. Well, awesome, too. Even though that you feel like, at least till you got a job, that's another good start. So you got some good things in your favor. So keep going forward, brother. BBT, good advice. The objective of life is to not be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus, I don't know how to say his last name. Thank you for that quote, brother. Yeah, look, guys, I think, this world's insane. That's my opinion. So it's hard to keep your sanity. All we can do is take life one day at a time, try to keep our time filled with positive, productive, and fun things, and, live below our means, do the best we can, and keep good people around us. That's true. Good comment. Mr. Smith, life, you put all caps, too short for suicide. It's weird, man. Like, I feel like sometimes life is long and shitty, and then sometimes when I've been close to death, I feel like, yeah, life is short. So it's a weird perspective on how, we feel that way. It's true, though. We'll be dead before long. That's a good point. Good point, Mr. Smith. Vanessa, I had a friend jump off the Skyway Bridge here in Tampa Bay. That's interesting. Back in 2013. See, this is interesting. Happiest guy I ever knew, always singing and making other people smile. Note, no one knows why. Yet I could understand that, though. Because in my personal experience in life, people who are very happy and compassionate, a lot of times they are doing that to make I think didn't the other person who committed suicide, the famous guy, the actor, what was his name? What was the actor that did Good Will Hunting? The actor, he said he was like the people who are compassionate usually are people who they know the pain of other people, so they try to make them happy. Robin Williams, that's what I was thinking about. So he committed suicide. Now, I don't know if he did it because he was getting sick when he was elderly. Yeah, Robin Williams. But he had a quote like that happy people or positive people are trying to make other people happy because they know the pain of other people. See, now I feel that, but what I've learned is I've matured. That's why one of the pieces of advice I gave to you guys, I think is very important. I think it's one of my best insights in life. Love people, listen to people, but don't try to fix people. You know what I mean? Don't try to make people happy. And take that with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to say, don't try to make people happy, but I am trying to say you gotta have boundaries. And you can't, I accepted, there's some things I can't make my mom stop worrying. I can't make certain, and I just have to let it go. It's not easy, especially as a parent or a caretaker. There's some things, you just can't fix. You know what I mean? You wish you could. When my dog got sick, guys, I wish I could fix that. I tried every way to fix it. You can't fix it. It's just life. You know what I mean? So it's a shitty part of life. I didn't create the world. Sometimes I do question God. It's God, you're supposed to be compassionate. I don't understand this shit. Why would, if it was me, guys, we'd all be rich and we'd all be chilling. So, but it's not for me to call. I can't call it. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to figure it out myself. Rex, from an American doctor, you might want to watch that. I don't understand that comment. Vanessa, I put some flowers. Mr. Smith, $2 super chat. He might commit suicide because his ex-wife was taking all his money. Well, divorce is a huge mental hurdle. Even a breakup, even if you're not married. If you ask me, Sam, what are a couple examples in your life where you've been broken? Breaking up in a relationship and losing money. Those are 2 times where I've been mentally broken. And believe me, a relationship was almost more devastating than losing money. And if you combine the two, a divorce and losing money, that's devastating. And it's only by the grace of God you get out of that. But what I've learned from other people who've gotten a divorce is that even if you leave the divorce emotionally bankrupt and financially bankrupt, it's better to have peace of mind because then you can rebuild your life. So a divorce is necessary. But nowadays, some women making more than men, so they got to watch the bag too. So it can happen both ways. Marin, hey Marin, good to see you. Shout out to the west coast of Florida, Sunable Island in the house. Marin's giving her top YouTube movies. Okay. Number one, she goes, 1,000 Ways to Die in the West. What's that about? Mr. Smith, thank you again. Yeah, it's a live stream of Ask Me Anything. Thank you. Marin says number two is Sebastian Monclasio movie. I know about Sebastian, Florida. I stay at that state park a couple times. A lot of gnats at that state park. Mr. Smith, yes, I just got it. They didn't tax it. All right, see, that's a good to know. Cameron, good to see you, brother. We ain't get taxed. Mr. Smith, I got the whole 1,200. Cameron said I got the 1,200 today. Good job, brother. You know, enjoy it, man. Don't do it all on the prostitutes. Keep some in your own pocket, man. Good to see you, Cameron. William, Vanessa, I sailed the Atlantic Sea for 10 years. There you go. Well, start to get into boating, man. That sounds like a passion. It's good to be around boats. Your environment matters. Your environment matters. Like for me, I got to be around palm trees. So if you like boats, I tell you, move to Florida, be around boats. Like right now, you're probably depressed, William, because you're in a desert. Sometimes people ask me, like, Sam, why not Arizona? Because Arizona is very sunny, nice weather. And I respect Arizona. I used to like the Phoenix Suns when Charles Barkley and Dan Marley played for them. But the reason, me personally, I couldn't live in New Mexico or Arizona because there's no ocean. I got to be by ocean and palm trees. So, like, the first line in your sentence was you did boating for a while. So, one thing when we're depressed, one thing that it may be, I'm not trying to read them on, I'm just saying for me, sometimes when we're depressed, it's that we're not around things that inspire us. And that's your environment. And then he goes, I sailed the Atlantic for 10 years. Someone jumped off the Jacksonville, Florida bridge and almost landed on my boat. That's crazy. What was that, the St. Augustine area? Yeah. Life-changing moment. That's wild, man. Love to you, brother. You still like boating? Keeping up with Bree. Once I get my strength back, I'm going to make more videos. I'll watch. Love you, Sam. I love you too, Bree. I'm watching your videos. I'm checking for them. Love to you, Bree. You keep getting your strength back. Like, I've hated life, and then when I've gotten sick and I've got my strength back after recovering from a sickness, I felt good again, felt thankful. So it's a weird thing. You hate life, and then you get better, and you know, it's a tough thing, man. That's why you got to hang in there if you can. Yeah, Josh said, Robin Williams, that's what I was thinking about. Mr. Smith said that too. Thank you. Vanessa. William, my dad was a boating near Senable Causeway. That's where Marin lives. Someone hit a woman on a bike. Wow. I went over that bridge a couple times, and she fell in the water dead. He got her out of the water. Damn. He had a nightmare for a while. Sad, enjoy life. Dude, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah, Super Shovel, said Robin Williams. That's what I was thinking about. Antonio, I seen you about a year ago. Okay. I'm from Northeast Ohio. Okay. I was thinking about going to Central Florida. Okay. With a family, but I know I'd have to live in a car for a bit. Okay. Been watching you ever since. Well, thank you for sharing, Antonio. I appreciate you letting me know how you found my channel, man. Thank you. Best of luck to you, whatever you decide, man. I met a couple great people from Ohio. Like I said, Karen, she may not be in here anymore, but she's a viewer. I knew her before YouTube. She moved from Ohio to the East Coast, central East Coast of Florida, the Melbourne area, Space Coast. She loves it there. Jaybird. And she's got asthma. So just because you have asthma doesn't mean like you can't thrive in Florida. Jaybird, I think she has asthma. Jaybird, damn Vanessa, I'm sorry. 2 weeks says something in a different language I don't understand. Good to see you. 2 wheels. Vanessa, the woman who died was a doctor, and she was married to a doctor. He tried to jump in off the bridge and was held back. My dad went to the funeral as an honored guest. Wow, that's crazy. Mr. Smith, thank you again. He committed suicide. Oh yeah, I didn't know he committed suicide because of his ex-wife. Yeah, like I said, divorce and money is tough, man. For people, man, it's very tough. It'll break you, man, Vanessa. But you gotta just keep moving forward, man. You'll heal again. You'll feel joy again. There's been some breakups, and I didn't get divorced, but I've been through breakups. And I asked myself, like, I remember crying for like 6 months straight, and I said, God, am I ever gonna feel happy again? And you do. You're scarred for life, but you do feel joy again, and you do move on with your life. But you have to establish no contact or minimum contact, And you gotta just stay productive. It's true. Vanessa, you never know when your time will end. That's true. So enjoy the time. Yeah, as best you can. Enjoy every day as best you can. That's a good point. Charles, what's up, man? Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. I'm at work. You don't need to apologize for me. Thank you for coming in. I will have to watch your live feed later. No worries, brother. Take care and stay safe. You too, brother. Thank you for stopping in and leaving a comment. Let's take hydration break. Guys, let's see if we can get up to 100 likes. Josh, no man. Speaking of which you did here, Adele, the famous singer, the one who's, the big chick who acts like she got left at the altar, she always singing about sad stuff. Adele, the famous singer, now has to pay out. So that's why she's singing those sad songs, man. Yeah, she had to pay alimony to her husband since they got divorced. I knew that was coming. Yeah, see, that happens. Cameron, yeah, no tax on a stimulus check. Praise the Lord. One massage later. I'll tell you right now. You guys remember when I did that live feed from the massage parlor? As when Robert Kraft got arrested? I still remember that. Vanessa, take care, Charles. Ball and Thug. They are prioritizing the stimulus to the people who make least first. Good. Also, but that's good too for some people who maybe not see it. Maybe they didn't prioritize them yet. That's true. Also, some banks are just fronting the money. Good. They could. Out of the pocket for now. All right, that's a good update. I didn't know that. Thank you, Ball and Thug. Well, I heard that, but that's a good reminder. Vanessa, Josh, I know. They were only married 3 years. I didn't know that yet, but I ain't surprised. Yeah. Ball and Thug. This is what you were saying. Thank you. Now I understand what you were saying. If you made less than 10K in 2019, you get the check this week. This is a good comment. I didn't know this. And if you make between 10K and 20K next week, this is a good comment. And if you make 20 or 30 the week after, Ball and Thug, man, great information. I didn't even know that, man. Let's take a nose blow break. That's good information, man. I didn't know that. Mr. Smith says Robin Williams was ordered to pay his ex-wife $13,000. Oh, that's what you were talking about. Oh man, I would commit too. That's powerful. I didn't know what you were talking about. That's crazy. William, Vanessa, it's good to laugh, guys. That'll keep you from going crazy. Vanessa, I called the Coast Guard. They said you can help them. This is when the guy fell off the boat, a bridge. No way I could, but another fishing boat in the area pulled him out. Broke his back. Damn. Crazy things happen in life. That's true. Manny, I was supposed to fly down to Tampa. Had to cancel. I'm sorry to hear that, Manny. Yeah, a lot of people out there had to change their life plans around. So we have to see what the future holds, man. Did you get a refund, brother? Vanessa, if you admit to being suicidal, they can lock you up for 72 hours. I didn't know that. And a doctor has to sign you to release you. They can hold you as long as they want. So get help, but don't say you're planning on anything. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting comment. Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. Josh, Vanessa, crazy, right? Makes me scared of marriage. William, will do. Just say health problem. That's interesting. Manny, no refund, just a credit. Okay. For your canceled plane. Yeah, guys, a lot of good information tonight, man. Good live chat. Thank you guys for watching, man. Thank you for everyone who gave a super chat. Very gracious of you. Thank you for all the good comments tonight. Good comments tonight. Thank you for all the people staying with me. Good people I saw tonight on live chat. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you. Have a peaceful night. Do the best you can. Take life one day at a time. What will the future hold? Well, right now for me, I'm going to go watch some free porn, unwind a little bit, and just try to make it to tomorrow. So let's try to make it through these next couple weeks and make it till the beginning of May. We'll see. We'll reassess the country, and we'll go from there. I'll see you tomorrow, guys, in another video, and we'll go from there. God bless you, and thank you again.